And ladies and welcome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. Welcome to Some Random Guy Speaks. I am your host, Tony G, and we're going to be getting started today. I think so. We're going to be talking about the, what the topic is about, and I'm going to wait for some people to come in on the channel. But this is, are you tired? Are you tired? Tired of dealing with ghetto YNs? And you guys can formulate and know what the YNs mean, but for YouTube and so forth, I'm just going to say young ninjas. That's what we're going to be talking about today in regards to this discussion. So as you guys come into the channel, and things like that. And then we're going to get started. So this is going to be a topic. Oh, yeah, I like the camera facing the other way. Hold on for a minute. There we go. Yeah, got the camera facing the other way. Sorry about that. All right. Thought I had a ride. So I'm going to use my glasses. Thank you for the like, too. I appreciate that. I gotta give my shouts out, Had Omega the other day, rocking with your boy, We got Sherry, lady. Shit, I'm gonna put that jingle on my thing when I'm at home, and things like that, We also have John Paddock, Yeah, I got farmers that rock with me, besides military people, Dan the Corn Man, We also have, I got to give him a shouts out too, Dan the Corn Man. Then we also have Keeping It Sharp with Billy Sharp, Got my boy as well, Dwight, Keeping It Right with Brother Dwight, Yep, giving a shouts out to you guys as well. Thumbs up and things like that. So as you guys come in, this is going to be a topic of discussion. Well, we're going to be diving into a very controversial topic. Many people are triggered, and we know the ones. Now, I use the term YNs. This is very popular, vernacular, I guess I'm pronouncing it correctly, that's used in the black culture. And we know what that means, But for politically safe or correctness, I'm going to use it as young ninjas, And this is something that we need to talk about. Many of you already have heard and seen what has happened over there in Cincinnati. Now, Cincinnati is 4 hours away from me, but we're going to talk about it. The Jazz Festival. This is a day where you're out on the weekend, you come in from out of town, visiting. And I've been to jazz festivals before. Chicago always has some great jazz festivals over there as well. But Cincy is 4 hours, and I've been to Cincy many of times, right? But this is a day of hanging out with your family, White couple hanging out, going to a jazz festival. And we're not going to go into the great detail, but we know overall what ended up happening. So again, mayhem broke out. And this is senseless violence where they have been attacked, brutally attacked. I mean, even sucker punched a woman and things. I mean, this is something here that I had to respond. I told my friend I was going to talk about this. These particular degenerates that these so-called pro-black leaders, you notice they never talk about this stuff. They always out here looking for racism, where blacks have enough problems or enough things within our own community that we should be dealing with, right? Instead of on this quest looking for racism. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is crazy, Omega says, yeah, Columbus, RN delivered some steel. In Columbus, RN, yeah, delivering some steel. Oh yeah, you in Columbus? Okay. That's what's up, Omega, man. That is what's up, man. Yeah, Omega drives trucks and stuff, I got quite a few friends that I know that are truck drivers, CDL licenses, and these guys are on the road like I am, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been to Columbus. Once, I've been to Columbus, Ohio once, and things. I remember driving on the 70 out there, but yeah, man. So Omega, I was going to talk about this topic, man. It's nearest and dearest to my heart because many blacks that I know complain, from senior citizens all the way down to some of the young people, and since we don't do a very good job, when it come down to representation, black representation, we don't really do a very great job of that. And I'm encouraging, I want to put pressure on the so-called, not saying that every black leader is grifting and on the take, but one thing I can say is, oh boy, here's my friend, man. Okay, man, Omega, I'm gonna have to is she coming over here? Okay. She don't normally park in this lot. She had a problem with her car though, man. I'm over here doing a live too. Yeah, shoot. All that, in any event, the show must go on. But at any event, so yeah, man. So I said I was gonna put some shed some light on this situation with that senseless attack that happened out there in Cincinnati, Ohio, and stuff like that. But these young ninjas, man, you know, this is something that the good blacks, because we have a lot of good blacks, and I want to say once again that we have to come up with some type of plan. But actually, you know what? I'm gonna take that back. It's already a channel called Black Fatigue, and I've been watching it, and a lot of things that they're talking about and bringing to the light. It's the same stuff that I talk about, it's like when you get a one of them was talking about a story of when they were in a restaurant, right? And we already know the stereotypes of ethnic groups that don't tip. And we right there on the list, man. We right there up on the list, when it come down to even not tipping. Can't seem to loud, crude, and rude, And the saying goes, most black people talk loud anyway. It's one of these country things though that's been associated with it, So my thing is simply this. I don't necessarily say talking loud necessarily make you ghetto or out of control. Really, it's your behavior and what you do, you know. And this is the thing, though, man, where we have to now there's being pushback because there's a civil war that's been going on between black folks. You got good black folks, and then you got the not so good black folks, the ghetto ones, right? These young ninjas that are out of control, right? Well, we can't even, not only white, because that could have been a senseless, everybody been jumped before, but it makes no sense for them to do this in Cincinnati when it come down to people just having a great time. And it just really it just burned me up, because we wasn't nobody was expecting to go to a jazz festival and to where mayhem broke out. And that these was young ninjas. I mean, I knew that anyway, because they're always up to no good. And then once again, when you start to go back to the pinpoint of this ratchet ghetto, people are not calling this stuff out. Black so-called black leaders are not calling this out. And I can name some of the ones at the top. They would never call this out. They're always looking for the bag when it come down to the money. When that's why they look for racism, right? They look for that type of stuff. Because had that shoe would have been on the other foot, that would have been on front page news. It has gotten very little media coverage. I found out about it on the internet, on social media, because most of the legacy media won't cover it. You know, when whites get attacked by blacks, but if it's the other way around, we call it a hate crime. Ain't that something? So let's go ahead and dive in further of this foolishness that's been going on. You know what I'm saying? It's total hypocrisy. It really is. Omega says hyper emotional sissy boys with no fathers figures, right? when they grow up. Shake my head. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And we go back where all this single parenting came from. I always said it, was said again. 1965, the Great Society, Lyndon B. Johnson, right? What did he do? He created Welfare Act, right? Him and his constituents, his cabinet put together this Welfare Act, supposed to be helping out black folks, giving them a leg up, right? But one caveat, they said if the black woman's going to collect welfare, the black man cannot be in the home. Thus, here we are, fast forward today. That policy, ladies and gentlemen, has destroyed, or pretty much have destroyed, I ain't gonna say totally destroyed, but majority has destroyed the the way of things supposed to be with a man, woman, and children. They just said, skip the man, we have the woman and children. Black people survived slavery, Jim Crow, segregation, right? The only thing we didn't survive is the Welfare Act. That broke up the nucleus of the black family, and it's been out of control ever since. Do you know that black women make up 70% of single raised families with children with no father in the home or different baby daddies, right? And this is like this is where Omega is coming from when he says the boys that grow up as sissy boys, right? Because this is exactly what it is. The zesty boys, emotional males is what they call it, with no male type of authority or discipline. And what makes an emotional male more dangerous than an emotional female? Because when he gets in his emotions and he has the strength of a man, he can practically hurt or kill someone because of his anger that has not been contained. It has not been no discipline at all. So they're just a raging bull in the china shop, ready to destroy stuff, right? And this is what's going on, you know. So they, and I pick up these guys a lot, man. I know a lot of these are young, what we call YNs, and that's basically what it is. And that's part of that culture, you know what I'm saying? When you look at the so-called rap culture today, when we was growing up, Omega, it was something different with the rap culture. It was a thing of expression. It was an art form. They went to gangster rap. Now you got this mumble rap with a bunch of these, like as he says, sissy boys that have single mamas and no daddy. And that's basically what we're talking about here, you know? And the women too. I got to get on the sisters too, because actually the black women have created this problem. This is a black female problem. And once again, the black man got to come up with a way to fix it, because our image is in the mud. Kevin Samuels been mentioned that. The great late Kevin Samuels. He said the black man's image is deplorable because you got good working black men like myself and Omega and a lot of others that go out here, punch the clock, get out here and do what we have to do, right? We're not looking for a medal. It ain't a badge of honor. It's something that we're supposed to do. It's just what about being a man all about, taking on responsibility, accountability and responsibility. That's the number one thing in the so-called black community that it lacks: accountability and responsibility. And then they want to walk around here with racism. It's the craziest thing ever. We could talk about sundown towns in 2025 that doesn't exist, but we could sit up here instead of looking at ourselves, right, in our own so-called communities, because that's where the problem is, right? Until this is addressed, look us, they study building prisons, and guess who makes up over 50% population in jail lockup? It's black men. I mean, young black men. If you were to do the interview, somebody already did statistics. They have interviewed a lot of black men, and it come to find out about 90% of them have been in there because of single mama parenting. When we start looking at it, Omega says even worse would be boy being raised by bull dyke mothers. Yeah, bull dyke mother. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. That's another thing, though, too. We have never had this type of uh, LGBT thing going on in our community, though. I believe, Omega, that has been manufactured, man, big time. Because I'm seeing more bull dykes more so today than I ever have before, man. I ain't never seen this many like this. You know, we had them, but it wasn't on the upload like this. I mean, yeah, we have them, and like I said, I don't have any necessary problems with them. But the problem is simply this. We know, I mean, it's the same thing with Obama talking about how men, young boys should be mentored by, by gay men and all this other kind of nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So the thing about it is who's going to instill discipline when you're acting like a female as a man or whatever? It just destroys the whole nucleus of the family and things. So that's why I look at that Cincinnati, and there's other incidents like that too. You can't even go into a Waffle House today. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Big Mike. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Big Mike. Yeah, he was on the Big Mike. Yeah, Obama was on Big Mike, on Michelle's show, on that podcast show. Everybody, we know who Big Mike is. So yeah, you know, on the podcast show, and Obama talking about how gay men and should be mentoring young boys and all this other kind of stuff nonsense, but this ratchet ghetto hood type of stuff, man, and that's why I say blacks, you just have to separate yourself even more. And I mention this. um, we have to build where people are willing to build with us. That's the thing about it. We got to disassociate ourselves because we are not the same. You got accountable, responsible black folk, and you got the ones that are not responsible and not accountable. And those, if you're hanging out in there, hate and trying to rep that lifestyle, it's a dead end. You're not gonna get anything from it at all. And these people in these positions, from the politicians and as well as the hypocritical politicians and so forth, they should have a better responsibility, teaching accountability and responsibility. You think Al Sharpton, Farrakhan, and all the rest of them, you know what I'm saying? Because really, man, when we really look at it, we start looking at it like this, man. It's out of control like never before. Is it working for them, or we gonna keep chasing racism? This is crazy. This is crazy. Is it really working? It's not, because they refuse to deal with what is going on today. We have a problem with 70% of black women single with children, no father in the home. They are producing, manufacturing this type of ratchetness, and they won't call it out. In fact, with a lot of these a lot of these so-called black leaders, they would never call this stuff out. Now, I don't have a black leader. I don't need one, and we got to get off of black leader. We're the only group talking about you're a black leader. These people are not the leader over me. I'm my own man. When you stand as a man, you stand alone, you stand on principle. You don't need no leader. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy. No leader. Well, yeah, they got to tell you how to vote, tell you how to think, tell you where to go, tell you what to say. No, you as a man, I don't put no man on my wall. I'm the one, right? This is the thing about it. This is crazy. This idol worshiping, this idolatry, and all this other crap. You gotta knock it off though, man. Where the real black men stand up, you know, and stop allowing these ratchet, ghetto, out of control MFers, because these are young ninjas that we're talking about right now. And for those that are coming in right now, thank you for the chat, coming into the channel. Some random guy, speaks. I am back, with vengeance, on this particular topic. On this particular topic, man. So that's exactly what I'm talking about, man. Look at what's going on right now. They are out of control. Even with a routine police stop, whether if it's a young YN female or YN black male, we know how the outcome is. They don't even know how to interact with the police, which is just, they disgrace themselves and then disgrace their family. We are the lowest of the low as far as our image, where they can't even comply to a police officer's demand. When he's saying giving you an order is what I'm saying. Giving you an order, right? And they can't even do that. You can't even do that. Omega says part of the Margaret Zinger plan. Exactly. Use leadership to corrupt us. Exactly. And for those that should know who Margaret Zinger is, especially in the black community, because she did a lot of damage in the black community. I'm talking about Planned Parenthood. She was part of that eugenics. Here, there we go. Along with Bill Gates Sr. Bill Gates Sr. was also a eugenicist. These are people that we're talking about weaponizing. She was the one that says that the black what did she say, Omega? Quote, black people are weed and they should be eradicated. Yeah. Yeah, so Omega says Malik Shabazz, which is better known as Malcolm X, was right about white liberals. He's absolutely right. Malcolm X was right. Your most dangerous liberal are white liberals, and these are the ones that pay the black leadership. I'm talking about the so-called black leadership, whether they're mayor, governor, so-called black leaders, civil rights leader. They all, man, a lot of them, you know what I'm saying, are bought off by the white liberals. And this is why look at the blue states, right? And then we want to talk about the ghetto neighborhoods and all the rest of this stuff. All that was manufactured by this particular group, you know. And I'm gonna point that out too, because this is the leading cause of it. You know, when black women accepted welfare, it was excluding their husbands out. And what they don't know, FDR was a racist too, because he was when he gave welfare to whites, that white men didn't have to be excluded out of the family home and things. White families, and for the most part of it, still had a family nucleus. FDR was a known racist, and he was also a Democrat. Look at all your Democrat leaderships, right? Most of them were racist, and most of them hated blacks. They had policies that was against us, right? And look what they have manufactured now. Now that we are 2025, we got YNs all over the place, right? Anytime you want to think about a single mama, right? You think about a YN. Unfortunately, the very few that aren't right, and Omega had it right. Demo KKK rats, because for me saying a Democrat is being too lenient for them. He's absolutely right. Demo KKK rats is what they are. White liberal demo KKK rats. And they have done a lot of damage right now. That's why I can't wait to see Obama's ass locked up in prison, though, to be honest, though, along with that crooked Hillary and all the rest of them, you know, because they have done a lot of damage in this country. And the whole Demo KKK rat party have done a lot of damage to the black community. Everybody should be in outrage about this. You know, you're voting for your own self destruction. Look at the so-called black community, and that's why I call it. It's a so-called black community, not no community no more. You gotta, what makes a community, you have to have a family. A family is not a single woman with children. A family consists of a mother, a father, mother, and children, right? That are accountable and responsible. Go out here and go to work. And they have businesses. Just like with the Jewish community, right? Every other ethnic group, they have to have certain type of checks and balances. You know, when somebody get out of line in these other groups, they take care of that. We don't have to publicize stuff. We take care of that. Check that. And it should have been checked. It starts at home with a father, mother, right? To be able to discipline their children, make sure they on a, and as well as education. I told, you know what, I make it when I have my passenger in the car, I talk a lot about, a lot of them don't know our history. They just think we just always fucked up here in America. I said, no, this was manufactured. I had to go back to welfare and all the rest of this stuff. Even in slavery times, though, blacks were married at over an 80% rate. Education was high. Booker T. Washington, Frederick Douglass. I mean, we had a lot of historical black colleges. They were turning out a lot of smart people back in those days, man. Look at what they're turning out now. You know what I'm saying? It's crap now. This They didn't have this thing called rap. They had people that was composing classical music, and some of our greatest classical music were brothers, you know. But this stuff is never talked about, you know. It's never being uphill, you know. But this ratchetness, that's why I always say this, and I'm gonna say it for people, especially for blacks right now. I'm really addressing this to blacks right now. No offense to anybody else that's non-black, but I always say for black folks, you cannot hang out with too many black folks because once again, it's going to be a problem. That's why I got to be very conscientious of who I'm hanging around with, especially if you're so-called, or especially if you're black, because once again, you know, it's not a good look. It's not a good look at all. Then you know it's going to be a fight that breaks out. You can't even go to a party to have a good time, let alone a jazz, checking out a jazz festival. Omega says they said that it takes a village to raise a child, but what if there's too many too many idiots? We have too many village idiots. We do. A lot of village idiots. We have so many of them. Look at Detroit. This is what happened, Omega. You heard about that. 4th of July, celebrating Independence Day, right? And the fireworks and everything go off. And it was some YNs down there. And what did they end up doing in Detroit at it was the 4th of July fireworks thing, right? And we already knew what happened. You get a bunch of YNs down there, it's going to be a fight. And sure enough, it did. It was gunplay. One girl got shot. This was here in Detroit. You know, now they tried to hush it up because they didn't want Detroit image to be hurt. Because you know, Democratic states ran, they always want to hush it up because they're in what is it? Project Mockingbird. Yep. Omega know what I'm talking about with Project Mockingbird. So they're in cahoots with the media, the legacy media. So to put to put a blackout thing on it because they didn't want that to spread nationwide. But I'm telling it anyway, and that's exactly what ended up happening, man. That's exactly what ended up happening. You get too many of these YNs together, and it's gonna be a problem. You can't go to a restaurant. You're gonna hear the loudest are YNs. You can't even go to a movie theater because the YNs are in there talking, depending on where you are. Now, if you have to go to the suburbs, way out, you got to go in places where a lot of YNs are not comfortable in driving, you know? So you got to be careful where you go, you know? You got to be careful when you go into the shopping center. You got to be careful because YNs are there. You even got the YNs stealing out of Lululemon and all these other places. They're still doing it. They're still doing it. This flash mob stuff. These are YNs that are doing it. All these examples that I'm mentioning, you think that the civil rights would have come in because they should be checking this stuff. But as Omega says, it takes a village. It takes, you know what I'm saying? It takes a village to raise a child, right? But we right now we have what Omega said, we have too many village idiots. This is the problem. We sure do. And I love how you said that. We have too many village idiots and not enough village people participating in to assist with these children and things like that. Now it's just out of control. What can you do? What can you do? Because I'm here to say this though too, man. Yeah, I'm a single guy, and I'm one of the few that don't have any children. But I'll be damned if I'm go up in here and hook up with one of these women that got a child from another man. You know what I'm saying? That's that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because we already know no man wants another man around their children, whether they're in a relationship or not. That's just how it is. Because it's going to lead up. I know an incident that was involved with my friend recently, right? You know, here we go again with this stuff. So, friend of mine, she broke up with him, right? He still wants to come over. She can't have somebody that she's seeing visiting the house. He see the car in the driveway, or maybe you know where I'm going with this type of stuff. So here it is, though. He sees the car, calls her up. You got another, you know what, ninja in the house around my children, you know? And he came and attempted to break in. Second time he got in the house. This is the type of stuff here. This is the type of stuff, and he ain't even a young N, a YN. He's actually an older. This guy's my age, man, with this clowning. This don't even make no sense. You up in your 40s and so forth, and you acting like this, acting like a damn fool. It don't make any sense. But this is what's going on, and I can give more examples to the stuff. They can't even respond to a police stop without any type of problems can't even comply with the orders of the officer at all. Turn a routine traffic stop into an arrest, into an assault, resisting arrest, and so forth. Everybody, all these YNs want to pretend like they're lawyers, and they're not. They haven't never took any type of law school. They never been. We know YNs even hate to read. They hate knowledge. It's worse now, Omega Man. You know what I'm saying? They can't even formulate a sentence. They can't. I mean, it's terrible, man. This is on some straight up BS stuff. And that's why I say they shouldn't fix their mouth talking about no damn racism. You shouldn't be fixing your mouth talking about some sundown towns and all this other nonsense. What you should be fixing your mouth to say is we got an out of control ratchet community. And like I said, the community, yeah, Omega says, I'm 47, too old for that noise. Yeah, exactly, Omega. Anybody gonna be 40 some odd years old chasing after a woman that don't want to be with you and stuff like that when you didn't take care of your business or whatever like that and raise your child and all this other kind of nonsense. Nobody gonna be having time for that stuff. Because you got some old, instead of young ninjas, you got some old ninjas too. And the old ninjas are the main reason why the young ninjas are acting the way that they're acting because they lack accountability and responsibility. And this is why, once again, when you look at other ethnic groups, checks and balances, they have what we call a moral compass. And I remember I did a little thing a few months back on Aaron McGruer when he said back in the early 2000s when he had his show called The Boondocks. What did he say? He said, Black people have used up all their moral currency. And he was absolutely correct, because we were a very moral people at one time. Now we seem like we're being overtaken by this ratchet ghetto-ness. This is the face of Black America today. When you start looking at these young ninjas, these YNs and these old Ns, this is unfortunately they represent so-called Black America with these young ninjas. They do. It's unfortunate. Wearing their pants below their waist, looking crazy. Everybody walking around with locks in their hair and stuff. I mean, this is crazy, man. It's crazy. Men ain't supposed to have no long hair. It's supposed to be short and neat. Instead of all this wearing long hair. Women are wearing long hair, not no man. Men don't supposed to be out here looking feminine like this, looking all feminine and soft and super sweet, super zesty. These old zesty boys today, you're right though. They got the long locks all in their hair and stuff. Man, that doesn't make you look masculine at all. Make you look like a woman and things. Dyed and fried, man. Come on, man. Come on, young brothers, man. Y'all supposed to know better than this. But a lot of you don't because you never had a man in your life. That's the reason why. You never had a man in your life, a Black man in your life to raise you right and to give you discipline and to give you direction, right? And put you on the right path. That's what it is. So I get it. Generation Xers, we grew up differently, you know. We grew up differently than you millennials and zennials, man. This is really bad though, man. Because if I actually had it my way, Omega, man, I would round up all these from these old ninjas and these young ninjas, and I would round every last one of them up, man. Now I'll put their ass into a camp in another fucking country or whatever like that, and break their will and break them down and to restructure discipline, manhood, and I would do the same for these women too. The women ain't off my list. These out of control ass ninja women, I'll do the same for them. I ain't talking about killing nobody. I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying? I'm actually talking about, whoops, I said that word too late. I'm talking about reform, man. I'm talking about getting them to reform. You got to break their will and you have to reform them, with education, knowledge, and wisdom, that's what they need. Omega says, well, if you are a Nazarene, but had long beard and aesthetic, celibate, aesthetic celibate. Well, I mean, here's the thing about it, though. I ain't got no problem with the beard, but I got a problem with that long hair on men, and I always hated those saggy pants. And them saggy pants, man, I can't stand that, man. But they look so sweet and soft and zesty. So that's the thing about it, though, man. And the ones that are bothered by this are these young, out of control ass ninjas that need discipline, though, man. You know what I'm saying? That's the ones. But like I said, though, we in a new climate right now, though, and they got something for these YNs, though, for sure, man. Lupin says, you can't even run around the block, man. What are you talking discipline? I can kick your ass. I tell you that. You old soft, zesty boy. You know what I'm saying? You over here talking shit coming on my channel. You can be an internet gangster all you want, but when you see that shit in 3D, you will see you have to be a whole different experience for you. Zesty boy. What are you, a zennial millennial? This is the problem right here. I would love to beat your ass. I would take your clothes off and give you a country ass whooping. I would really do. You ain't under my skin, but I'm gonna go ahead. Allow me a minute. I'm gonna 5 minutes roast this guy for a minute because he's terrible at trolling. But you need a country ass whooping, young man, and I'm the guy just to administer it to you too. I would take all your clothes off. We call that, for y'all that don't know, we call it a country ass whooping. You know, where we take all the clothes off and we just beat their ass for about 5 to 10 minutes. Well, they'll never do that again, and that's what should have happened to you, Lupin. Not even your real name. You can't even come in here with your real name. You gotta come in here under a fake alias and name. At least I'm over here being real, and you gotta come up in here under some hidden type of stuff. You another zesty boy. You ain't gonna do shit. You're just talking shit like all of them. And I'm ready for the smoke today. What's one thing about me? I am a gun holder, and I will blow your head smooth off. So one thing about that, though, I am a MAGA Republican, and I believe in the Second Amendment right. And once again, I would two to the chest and one in the head. See what I'm saying? That's how you back that up. Omega says, that's what I'm talking about. Nazarene is a type of monk with long hair and look with long hair. Okay, hair and long beard. Samson, right? And Jesus. All right, the Nazarene. Yeah, I know what you were saying. I should elaborate on that a little bit more. Yeah, he got the long beard and everything. Yeah, like a monk type. Yeah. But yeah. But this particular guy here, man, another zesty boy. I was waiting on it though too, man. See, because you can trigger these guys, man. They come in here trolling, and I dealt with many trolls when I did my lives, man. So that's one thing about it. I ain't never concerned about a troll. But you know what I'm saying? That's all they know how to do, because I pushed the buttons because his father that failed him in his life, his mama failed him too. He probably live with his mama right now in the basement. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these millennials and zennials, they're not doing anything. Is it their fault necessarily? At a certain point in life, you have to take some accountability and responsibility. But once again, the problem have fallen. See, his family failed him. The majority of black men, because we said 70% of black women are single with children, baby mama, baby dread daddies, different baby daddies. You can't have a productive uh, community when you have this type of out of control ass ratchetness, ghetto-ness. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing about it, though. So we have to disassociate ourselves with this group. These are the monkey people, is what I call them. The monkey people, like in that Jungle Book, the monkey people, less educated, ignorant. They can't comprehend. They don't like read. They hate knowledge. You know what I'm saying? The ninjas are always late. Ninjas always have an excuse. Ninjas love to complain. You know what I'm saying? Ninjas love to complain. You know, what else do the ninjas like to do? You know, they hate knowledge, they reject knowledge, right? This is what these ninjas do. And I'm waiting on him, man. See, get at the ninja right now. See, he's big man right now. Ninjas love to complain, man. Ninjas love to hate. Ninjas love to hate other black people that's doing better than them. They talk all this crap, man, and stuff like that. And it ain't gonna can't crush a grape. They get on social media and want to be gangster internet gangsters, man. Stop it. You're making yourself look more foolish every time, man. Lupin, why don't you go? Why don't you should you be at work? My father told me not to. Your father, you ain't got no father. I bet he ain't in your life because if he was, you would be agreeing with what me and Omega has to do. You know what we're talking about is what I'm saying. You know, careful they call us Uncle Ruckus. Oh yeah, that names would never hurt you. You know, and this guy here, Joe Mama, what's going on, man? Good morning, Tony G. Right, Omega man, what's going on with you, Joe Mama? Yeah, man, we're talking about a topic that Lupin is upset about. My father told me that fat fuck did not tell your father to get his ass online so he can get this fucking straightening. That's what you better do. You know what I'm saying? Because if he raised a son like you that can't understand what accountability and responsibility, y'all young niggas are the ones that we have the problem with right now. You know, but I got something for you. Because, like I said, though, too, Second Amendment right, gun holder, you know, for sure. Yep. So, anytime you talk about the smoke, you know, I'm prepared for it. I'm prepared for it. You know what I'm saying? Coward. You won't even get on here and show who you really are, man. Like I'm supposed to be afraid of what you and your daddy had to say. Your daddy should have his ass whooped to have a degenerate son like you. You should be out there handling your business, taking care of a family, right? You're supposed to be out here doing man stuff, not boy stuff on the internet over here trying to troll me. You know, this is a monk. This is right. See, people like Lupin is what we call the monkey people. These are the monkey ninjas that nobody wants to be around, you know? And like I said, though, I want to propose to President Trump how we can get rid of these monkey people. We can get them out of here, just like we been getting out of a lot of these illegal aliens up out of here, illegal immigrants out of here. And the monkey people is not they're also going to be on that list to get their behind up on out of here because they don't bring no type of productivity in America. They don't pay into the tax structure. There's a lot of things that they don't do. They're just nothing more than a menace. You know, it's like, what is the point and the purpose? If he had any type of common sense and decency, he would have understood what I had to say. You know, he would have understood what I had to say. You know, that's the whole thing about it. He just get on here and talk stuff and talk crap. You know, you need to respect your elders. If you was right here in front of me right now, I'd take you and your daddy, take all your clothes off him and give you a nice ass whooping that you deserve. Because you shouldn't be a man, shouldn't be on here being all soft and zesty and all in your feelings over what I got to say. You shouldn't be doing that type of stuff. You're a disgrace as a young man. Sad to say. This is what we have. But Omega says, I mean, yeah, sup, yeah, I know you're talking back to Yeah, Joe Mama. Yeah, yeah, Joe Mama. This is the topic here. We're talking about that incident that happened out there in Cincinnati, and these monkey people, they won't call it out. They won't call out their ratchetness and the out of controlness. That's what I call the monkeys, man. That's what they are. These young ninjas are nothing more than modern day monkeys, chimpanzees, apes, and baboons, man. You know what I'm saying? They're the ones that have a low intelligence. You know what I'm saying? Lower than a damn caveman. You know what I'm saying? Because when you hate knowledge and don't read, and they always say, you know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? Oh, know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? They can't even formulate a word or a sentence, man, which is sad. The only thing they got to say is try to call you out your name. You think I'm hurt over that stuff? Man, I got real thick skin. You think I'm concerned about what you think of me? I'm not, you know what I'm saying? You could tell he was big mad though. He was big mad. Like I'm supposed to go out of control, like, what you call me? You call me fat. You better get in my belly. That's what you're gonna do. Shoot, you're looking like a nice steak right now. Medium well. Shoot. And I can joke about that with myself though too, because once again, I love my food. But I am gonna get myself in shape though, man, because that's the thing about it, Omega. As we start getting older, man, problems start arising. So I am gonna check that and get on that. But not for this guy though, but for my own self. Thank you for the like too. I appreciate it. But this is a topic, and I'm willing to get pushback. As Omega said, we are called Uncle Ruckuses, sellouts in our community, because anytime a black person talk about the problems in his community, he is called a sellout. And you notice and they get this stuff from these sellout civil rights leaders that are all crap, right? Not all, but most of them are all crap. That's where they get this stuff from, because they should be checking this stuff. And it's a problem. And I'm going to be addressing this more often because, like I said, they can't even obey a simple order from the police when it comes down to a traffic stop. They can't even do that. And with monkey people with less IQ, because only a fool battle with the police like this. I don't have these problems. If I ever got pulled over, and I never have any of these problems. But the monkey young YNs, they're having this problem. And this is an address to the YNs right now because they are the most out of control ever before. And like I said, I know there's a task force coming. And this stuff right here is going to be dealt with swiftly. It's what's going to end up happening. Because that situation in Cincinnati, jumping on those white couples like that, shouldn't have never happened. And once again, no fathers, no type of discipline, no type of accountability, no type of responsibility. So, like I said, I can talk about it. So they can't come after me. They can't, oh yeah, I understand whites can't do it because you'd be called a racist. But this is something that we got to deal with. We got to deal with this low intelligence life form that shouldn't even be a factor to talk about. But we got to talk about it because they're doing more destruction, violence, murder, and everything else right underneath the sun. Though this is why other ethnic groups don't respect this, which I understand very much so. Whites and others, I totally get it. There's too many blacks around. Unfortunately, I get it. You know, we can't even go into a restaurant without having to worry about the waitress. Are they going to tip? Are they going to tip? Are they going to tip? You know what I'm saying? So, and most black women don't tip anyway. But more black men tip than black women. I will say that black women don't tip. And once again, whose fault is that? See, because if you had a family and where they talk about education, right? We talk about accountability and responsibility, teaching manhood and womanhood, raising the women to be housewives or being a wife, and then for the men, right? Raising them to be upstanding in the community, law-abiding citizens and so forth. instead of getting into it with the police, looking all zesty, half gay looking. And that's what they are, when they come in on this room. I'm surprised I didn't have more pushback than just the one. I knew I was gonna get one today, but I have a way for them. It seem like I have a way of speaking where I kind of push their buttons and get them to react. And that's basically what I'm trying to do, because that's all they know how to do. He's proving my point. I didn't insult him. Oh man, what are you talking about? You know, you fat. Like he thought that was going to bother me. Like I'm going to get into an argument with him about who's fat and all this other kind of stuff. Tell me something that I don't know. If you ain't careful, man, he may get in my belly. If he ain't careful, get in my belly. It might be good enough to eat. You know what I'm saying, with some barbecue sauce. Ah man, yeah, zesty boys, man. It might be too sweet though, man. You can't have too much sugar. And right now, my man got a lot of sugar. See, these YNs have a lot of sugar, man. Howard Craig says, "Yeah, we grew up even loving Fat Albert. Yeah, Fat Albert was cool, man. Hey, 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 it's okay. You know." Yeah, I was just talking about Fat Albert Howard yesterday, man. Fat Albert, man, and the Cosby Kids, man. Are you kidding me, man? And Fat Albert, Fat Albert was smart too, man. He reminded me like what is it? What's that? Your Crumps, Nutty Professor with Eddie Murphy. Oh man, that was the best ever, man. That was the best ever. But that's what he kind of reminded me of a little bit. But yeah, Fat Albert, they always had some type of learning lesson at the end of the show. But that was real educational, black educational stuff. That wasn't like on no ghetto stuff. But talk about problems that were going on in the community and black community, social problems and stuff like that. And he usually had an answer for it to fix it. Omega says, the thing about emotional sissy boys is they tend to believe that everyone else is as irrational as they are. It's true. It's true. And they get even more angry when you don't give them the what they want. Yeah, when you don't give them what they want. It's so true. It's so true. And whose fault is this? It goes back to the parent. His parents have failed him. He think by saying about his father telling him about a fat man and all this other stuff, and what his father failed this young man. I'm talking about the guy I was talking about earlier. Now I have fun trolling them back, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the thing, though, they fail to. It's like you were saying, they're so irrational, so emotional, man. And his father failed him. And the way this young man is going to be going, he's going to be another statistic, if he's lucky, to go to prison. The other one is 6 feet under. It's only one or two directions you can go, regards to being irresponsible or whatever. What they going to do? Try to rob a liquor store? You know? Shit, black folks can't even, what is this, Ocean's 11? They can't even get that right. What is Ocean's? They won't even get to Ocean's 13. You know what I'm saying? With these black heists, they always get foiled all the time, don't they? You know what I'm saying? They always get foiled every single time, man. I tell you, Howard says, right on, Omega. Yeah, Omega is right on. Sissy boy, zesty boy type stuff. You get in here in these emotions instead of learning from what the elders, because we are his elder. He can't even he speak to me like he on my peer level, you know? You're not on my peer level, young man. Your father is, and I really doubt it if your father is going to even stand by the crap and the stuff that you're saying, because I don't believe it. Your father, old enough as he should be, he ain't gonna be. If he's about 40, I would probably say that depending on how old. It's really with these people on here, you really can't tell how old they are because they may be older, but they sound like children even when they're typing. They can't even formulate the words that they do. They have to. That's why the insult. It's easier. It's easier to say fat, fuck, whatever. It's easier to say that versus coming with something intellectually to say, to debate me on this type of stuff. This is a hard pushback for the truth that I'm saying about our own people. And this is a minority group. This ain't the majority. The YNs are a minority. And let me say that right now. This is a minority group of people. But let the the liberal media and let everybody else, they'll say that this is the majority. It's not. This is a minority group of people that we're dealing with. And the YNs are more out of control right now than ever before. You can't turn on or see. I'm talking about social media because they always got them. And I think what I'm gonna do when I get on my horizontal instead of on the vertical, I'm gonna go ahead and start just showing the clips of these out of control ratchet ghetto YNs, and that means for the young black men as well as the women. We don't even use the term black men and women. We're using ninjas because that's what they are. The monkey people. That's what they are. We are not those type of people, but they are. You know. And I said I wanted to address this a little bit more, ladies and gentlemen. Man, when would this stuff stop? When would it stop? Because, like I said, there's task forces and stuff like this for this type of stuff. Because law and order is returning here in America. It's returning. And they've been used to this Joe Biden. They've been used to these other demo KKK rat liberal policies that never benefited us as a group. They helped destroy us. As I said earlier, Lyndon B. Johnson, the Great Society, creating welfare, that was the tool, that was the weapon that took out our so-called family nuclear structure. Welfare, the government came in and said, we'll be that black mama's daddy, we'll be their baby daddy. Push the black man off to the side. See, this young man don't even know that history. How can you debate that? How can you say that that's okay with the black woman wanting to have the government as their baby daddy versus their man? Because had welfare would have never been given to black folks, they would still rely on their man. But since that policy came around, that's what destroyed it. Because it was a difference when whites were getting welfare because the white man and the white woman were allowed to be in the same household. That's a fact. FDR. That's a fact, right? That's where this shit came from. That's why if he continues sticking around, maybe he'll learn something. I want him to stick around so therefore he can learn something though, instead of looping or whatever. That way he can learn something instead of just coming on here trying to be disruptive and trying to be a menace. This is the problem with this educational system. You notice with these YNs, you don't never see no books in their hand coming home. They say you don't have no homework. Nope, did it already. This is the problem. They say they did it already. You think I believe that? There's always things that these YNs could be learning, just like the rest of the blacks being accepted into colleges, universities, learning the skill, learning the trade. Omega says, "Oh, wait, are you a soft ninja for not, no, right, uh, clucking yourself by talking, by taking, I'm going to say it by, there it is, hold on for a minute, by taking care of Pookie and Ray Ray, right? Um, as, what's the name, say, bastard seeds, but yeah, bastards, and handling what's that, which is a swooking black wall man. Megan says, that's what they say when I tell them about my passport, right? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got my passport too, Omega. Yeah, I do got my passport, man. That's the thing about it. And that's when I'm gonna be coming up with the solutions as well. It ain't all about the problems, but if you're a single man, especially if you're a black man, you're gonna need your passport, man, because I was talking with a white guy, and I just laid it out there on the wood for real, for real. I said, as a black man myself, my dating pool is very, very small, right? Very, very small. And I said, and let me elaborate a little bit more because as a black man in America, where you have over 70% of black women that are single with babies and all the rest of that stuff, that just throws you right out. You can't even do anything with that. And then you have another percent. I mean, it's very, very small here in America. Very small. That's why the passport bros were created in the first place. Let me see here. Let me read what you said. Joe Mama says, to be fair, Tony, there are many white women on welfare. Just said blah blah blah. No, no, I know that, Joe Mama, but I was just saying though, what has happened in the beginning, as far as the history of it all. Yeah, you're right about that. I know that, but you still, I think the last that I checked, statistically, white women that are single with children make up about 50%. We make up 70 for the black woman, we make up 70% being a single mama, you know? So the other 50% for you, you still can, I mean, I'm just saying, if a person were to black, white, and other were to marry a white woman, chances are you could find a white woman that doesn't have any kids. I dated many of them that did not have children. Very rare I could find a black woman, especially in my age range. You already know it's going to be literally impossible. But I hear what you're saying, though. You know what I'm saying? To keep it real. But Omega said, LOL. You said, iPet Ghost says, the got the fat pumpkin, got the fat poom poom in Peru. The poom poom, fat poom poom. Yeah, we know what that is. That's a Jamaican word for poontang. Yeah, I know poom poom yeah, that's pretty much, I think everybody know what that word means now, right? But yeah, that's the thing about it. That's why the passport bros was created. And it would be nice to get these YNs because they don't have to, they doing all this stuff for young black women. Let's keep it real. They're doing this stuff because they been around women. A lot of them got a lot of sisters in their family. They don't have any type of, any type of testosterone, bunch of estrogen around there. So they start acting zesty and all this. Fellas, you young YNs, man, especially you young YNs, you don't have to do this. You don't. That's not going to get you married. I know one day inspired to be married, but like I said, there's the things that there's a lot of deprogramming that have to be done to get these young men back on being in manhood and being on accountability and responsibility. Because that's not attractive. The only type of woman you're gonna get is one of the same, just like yourself. These are children having babies, man, and just raising them up in the welfare system. That's the problem, though. Black women are the leading when it come down to single mamas. Look at this. You can pull up the statistics and look at it. Last I pulled it up on blackdemographics.com. This was a statistic, and it was something that I wasn't even privy to. But Kevin Samuels used to always bring that statistic up, and I pulled it up and checked it out myself, and he was correct. I pulled it up. It was for black people by black people, so they can't say, "Oh, man, you're using the whites to man system." But it's there. The information is there if they were to look at it and research it. You know. But yeah, this is why the passport bros. We think what I'm gonna be doing. I can't date in America like this. Then you got feminism too. That's another thing. We have to be able to, go in other places where we're gonna be able to have some opportunity. Omega says screen is blacked out. Okay. All right, let me see here. Screen is blacked out. Oh, I hold on for a minute. Okay, sorry about that. I thought that was plugged all the way in. My bad. Yeah, right. That should be better. Sorry about that. I appreciate it. I thought I had that thing charging up, man. Yep, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, or gentlemen. All right, yeah. So yeah, so that's what it is. Um, Well, Joe Mama, I know you coming in right now. I know you know what YN is, or maybe not, but we address it as, these are people that are out of control, no family unit, right? Because I'm gonna break something else down to you, and I have talked to a lot of my passengers that are, let's say, young in their late 20s, 25 and up, that they have been to at least 5 to 7 weddings. When I talk to the brothers that's in their same age peer, they'd be lucky to go to one wedding, right? So that right there, and these are young black folks here that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even for you brothers that's in the room right now, how many weddings have you been in your lifetime? Be honest. You can put the numbers down on the screen down there. How many weddings have you been to? I'll be surprised if you'd gone to two. Now, some of you may have children. You probably went to that wedding, but how many weddings for real have you been to with your friends, your peer group, growing up? When we was growing up in the '90s, growing up in the '80s, or in my case, it would be the '90s. How many weddings have you guys attended? How many weddings? I'm curious because this feeds right into my point. It feeds right into my point. They're having children, but they're not getting married. You know, how many weddings have y'all been to growing up when you were like, let's say, in your 20s? How many weddings you guys have gone to? I'm real curious about that. Yeah, Joe Mama, you could chime in on it too. How many weddings have y'all gone to? Let me see. The weddings I've gone to, even in my lifetime, I've been to a wedding reception once. And far as a wedding, let me see here. I've been to my brother's wedding. I've been to my aunt's wedding. I would say probably about three in my lifetime, I think. I think so. Joe Mama says, I can see you. Omega, you may need to log off and log back in. Yeah, I was going to say, Omega, if you can't see me, yeah, try scrolling up try logging off and logging back on. You know how you just scroll up to the next one and come back down? But yeah, I didn't have it plugged in before, but now you guys can see me. Sorry about that. Yeah, but how? Yeah, Joe, Mom. Yeah, okay, it's fixed. Okay, Omega. Let me ask you a question. How many weddings have you gone to in your young adult life, in your 20s? How many weddings have you gone to? I went to three. One with my aunt, one with my brother, and I went to a wedding reception. Wedding. I think about three. Right. Omega says been to 12 before 2005 and after 2000 maybe three. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. But you ask the young brothers today. Yeah, and in fact, I'm gonna have to figure it. I'm gonna have to find that one out though. See, we have gone to more weddings than they have. You know, we really have. And I do photography. I just don't like doing weddings, man. It's an all day event, man. All day affair, man. Man, you know. But yeah, man, that's the thing about it though, man. Far as with this type of stuff. But yeah, so with these YNs though, man, calling this stuff out, Detroit where they had that shooting over the fireworks thing, this is a day of celebration. Joe Mama said 3 to 4. I don't, okay, yeah, right. 3 or 4. I don't go to many social things unless it's close family. I don't have time. Exactly. And I'm right with you though, Joe Mama, on that one. I'm right with you on that too, man. Unless it's really close to me, but yeah, I don't really have the time. It's an all day affair, all this other stuff. Yeah, social gatherings like that today. It's not the climate for it today, though, man. But more power to the person that's getting married. Not downing on marriage. Marriage is a beautiful thing, union between a man or a woman. So that's what we're gonna talk about here, man and a woman, not no other gender. We're talking about the union between a man and a woman. Adam and Eve, man and woman, not Adam and Steve, right? Man, I'm so glad that we conquered that woke stuff, man. We destroyed, eradicated that woke stuff, man. Got rid of that crap. Yeah, that's the thing about it. All these zesty boys and all this stuff, man. We got rid of that stuff, man. I'm talking about I can't identify. That was the worst though. It's I can't identify. You know, yeah, that was the worst, man. That nonsense though, man. Please. Omega says more likely to see or hear about the zesty weddings these days. Yeah, that's the thing about it though, man. Like I said, man, this is and the thing that supersedes the zesty boy. Well, they're part of it too. It's the YNs that we talked about earlier because these ninjas are out of control more so than ever before. And I would like to see. I'm seeing pushback because there's a channel someone has called Black Fatigue, where they're starting to call out this type of stuff. There's another podcast channel that I followed recently. I ran across called Pop and Culture, and these are black women that are educated and they are logical. And also, when they talk about the MAGA and all that stuff, so I ran across their channel. You guys probably check them out. Pop in Politics. So they have some very interesting saying. They called it out too about that Cincinnati situation. We had a thing here in Detroit, Joe Mama, where it was a all black on black one on this one though, and there was gunplay and a woman got shot. And this is over here at a fireworks thing, celebrating the 4th of July, celebrating America's independence from Britain, and we can't even get together for one day. Stuff happens at night. That's why I don't blame a lot of white folks start leaving early because they already know. Because stuff goes down at night, though, man. Especially with YNs or even black folks too. Older black folks can't stand young YNs. They can't, you know, because we never know. We don't do public things because of the YNs. The YNs messed everything up. You can't go out to an amusement park with your family, not at night. Especially at night and in the evening, you can't do that with a bunch of white. That's a haven for YNs. YNs love amusement parks. YNs love social gatherings. YNs love going to the movies. You know, but you can't. You gotta be careful when you go into these places though, because there's gonna be a lot of YNs there. You gotta avoid that, man. If you want to be safe, you better have your thing on you, man. Because you YNs though, they will try you and test you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the life you may save may be your own. You know what I'm saying? you know, boy, I tell you, boy, they just mess it up for everybody, man. YNs are always late. YNs love to complain. YNs always got something negative to say. YNs don't have no accountability. YNs don't have no responsibility at all. Just out here making babies and not being a man and taking care of your children, not being a woman and take care of your children. These YNs are so out of control. I don't know what to say. Joe Mama says, yeah, I see all that on the news. I check the local news outlets to get the real feel that the national outlets won't report. Yeah, they're not reporting it though. I said that earlier, Joe Mama. Yeah, they won't report it because we know Project Mockingbird. We know what's up with it. So yeah, they've been running Project Mockingbird for a long time. That's why we know they won't report it. But yeah, man, that's what it is, man. We have to put up with this foolishness. This is the type of stuff right here, and they won't call it out on their own party because they know their party was the ones that started it. The Demo KKK rats. Omega, that's the realest thing you ever said about that party, just with his name. And I'm going to address them from now on in. The Demo KKK rats. They were the ones that started this stuff. They created what we call the YNs today. Somebody got to show some blame. You know what I'm saying? Yep. This is exactly what it is. This is exactly what it is, though, man. But yeah, they didn't cover it everywhere, though. Media blackout in certain places, but yeah, Cincinnati, that's only 4 hours away from us. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Cincinnati, the thing in Detroit that broke out over there, mayhem over there. And they jumped on that white couple too, man. And it was really sad. It was there visiting, going to the jazz festival. You know, I love jazz festivals. I don't do them no more because of the YNs. Yeah, you gotta be careful when you're going to festivals. I don't do concerts, and stuff like that. As an Uber driver, I don't even pick up YNs, man, because once again, picking up these YNs and stuff like that, your life could be at risk. You know what I'm saying? You get too many of them in the car, same old situation. They want to do multiple stops and all this other stuff. So I stay away from that stuff, man. The YNs are the worst, man. Omega says, speaking of, I have my American Express card. Yep, American. Okay, MCL, 28.4.29, CPL. Yep, you got your CPL. Go, congratulations to you. And always have Charlene Colt, Commander 1911.45. Man, I'm scared of you, though. I'm scared of you, Omega, man. ACP. Never leave home without it because of the YNs. And Omega is telling the truth. That's a nice gun, too. But Omega is telling the truth, though. You never leave home without it because the life he saves is definitely going to be his own. You know, I just one of the small ones I like to carry because it's a comfortable feel. I got a Taurus, a 2C, a G2C is what it is. So I have one of those though, and it's just my carry, and I think it's 7. I think it goes up to 10, or whatever, 10 rounds. I think it is, but 7 to 10. But with the magazine, I got 2 magazines as well. So yeah, and that's just my light boy. But I can't wait till I get my AR-15s. My cousin got 2 of them on a great deal. I got a couple of friends that got some AR-15s, with that bump stop and everything, stock. So yeah, so that's the thing about that though, man. Never leave home without it because these YNs, you got to be able to protect yourself, man, because they will test you and challenge you. That's why older black folks don't like being around them. We don't do no nightclubs. Joe Mama says, Omega, you know what ACP stands for? I was just about to ask that myself. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Break it down, man. Yeah. Yeah. Break it all the way down. But yeah, that's exactly what it is, man. So if you're an older person or not, you got to be able to protect yourself because we know that the low down demo KKK. Oh, man, I lost my connection. Hold on for a minute. This should work. Okay. All right. Hold. I got to hold on for a minute, guys. I got somebody coming. Hold on for a minute. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Yeah, so one of my friends visited me, so yeah. So other than that though, yeah, so because he don't want to be on the camera, I not, for privacy purposes. Yeah, so other than that though, man, so yeah, let me see what you had to say here. Joe Mama says anti-crow projectile. Oh, makes a lot of sense. For the mean ones that run you out of the out, run you out of the pasture here. Oh, that's, always learning something from you guys, that's for sure. Yeah. But yeah, and that's the thing about it. Yeah, you gotta be a gun owner, a gun holder, Second Amendment right. Because right now one of the biggest threats in here, other than terrorists, is you got to deal with these YNs. And I know eventually they're going to probably be labeled as terrorists if they continue going down this path and stuff. These gangs that they repping and everything like that, they're going to be considered terrorists as well too. And once you become on the terrorist watch list, it's a wrap. It's a wrap, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing about it. I don't like being around YNs at all myself. I don't hang around a lot of people either, especially YNs. Nope. Mm-mm. And I got to be very, selective who I pick up, even as an Uber driver, because again, you can't be putting your life at risk and in harm's way dealing with a lot of YNs. You know, that's the thing about it. I try to stay out of a lot of these ghetto neighborhoods. I have been in the hood picking them up sometimes, but I try to stay out of it, stay out of there, because they don't tip anyway, too. That's another thing, though. Um, they're just still on that fuckery and foolishness. Is what a lot of them are. Just like the young man that came in his room earlier, he can come in here trying to troll me, And I always like it when they come in here and troll, though, too. They just don't do a great job of it. But we know that ultimately, a lot of this stuff, though, he ain't gonna run up on nobody. He ain't gonna do nothing to nobody because you don't know what people have these days. Not all MAGA supporters and Trump supporters, they all believe in the Constitution and Second Amendment right, though. Whether you're a liberal, whether you're a moderate or, and what is it, a libertarian, they believe in some type of protection now out here. So, but yeah, that's the thing about it. Omega says Colt designed the 45. Yeah, I know that Colt 45 works every time. I was, what's this, Billy D? Billy D. Williams. Yeah, Colt for designed for the 40, for the yep, the 45 caliber, right? ACP based on I think a ARAP. Yep, a predecessor to the DARPA, a shorter variant of the 45 LC, which is a revolver round. Yeah, everybody should have a revolver though, because that revolver right there, if anything fails, that revolver is what they call Old Faithful. Old Faithful. Old Faithful ain't gonna let you down. Not Old Faithful. Mm-mm. That's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful thing. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, like I said though, man, I need to go to the gun range very soon, man, and stuff like that. Point blank. There's a few other ones out there that I can go to. But what's that other one called? Top Guns. Yeah, there's a few other places though too. Yeah, that way you could be able to stay sharp. Yeah, I try to. What's a kill shot? Two, one to the. Oh, what's the what? I'm just gonna use that word again. I said it, but let's just say this: deleting. Now I don't want to have to delete nobody, man. I don't want to do that, man. But these YNs ain't leaving no choice to for us, though. Because they out here on some real. Had that couple because I could tell that white couple was liberals because if her husband, if he was really a real conservative, he would have had his thing on him, man. You know what I'm saying? And he would have been in his just rights to lay a few of them down, man. I mean, really. See what I'm saying? Because you can't be out if you got a wife or a girlfriend. That's the train, y'all. Yeah. I'm over here by the train tracks. Let me get my behind off these train tracks. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It sounded like I was on the train tracks. You know, you may never know where I may pull up at on the train tracks doing my streaming, you know, over in the hood where the YNs are. I'm just kidding. Oh man, man, man. Man, it's good to see you all again, man. I said I am back, you know. I am back in full, you know. Yep, full, yeah, fully, you know. Yep, I almost take up almost the whole camera, just about. But yeah, man. So yeah, it's been real good and cool, man. You know. Yep, you gotta have that American Express, man. Never leave home without it. Because the life you may save is gonna be your own, man. They should have me to start doing these commercials, man. We probably gonna start seeing gun commercials again. What y'all think? Y'all think we're gonna start seeing gun commercials again, man? And yeah, the NRA is still protected, you know, and yeah, man, you know, and they got all type of kits on there for stuff, you know, for guns and all kind of things, you know. Yep, and get myself that AR-15, man. Boy, I tell you. Yep, because you know the YNs are coming. The YNs are coming, unfortunately, you know. You know, I don't want to have to delete nobody. I'm not I'm not on that type of thing, but I will protect myself if that makes sense. You know, I'm not out here, you know, trying to be confrontational or nothing like that. But had that man, that couple, that white couple was out there out of Cincinnati, had he would have had his thing on him, man, that situation would have been totally different. It would have been totally different, man. You know, never leave home without it. I got another friend of mine. He's a truck driver. He has his CPL, and you think he gonna be out here? Actually, because my friend is half Puerto Rican, half Italian. He drives a truck. He was over there in Detroit, Omega, the area I'm talking about, Telegraph Road in Plymouth. He was over there filling up at the gas station over there. The YNs pulled up on him, told him he got to move his semi truck when he's over there filling up fuel for the service station, so therefore they can have gas to put in their car. What sense does that make? So he called me up later on at night saying that these YNs rolled up on him. And so my friend said, "Hey man, I'm in the middle of about to fill up the gas station. You know, he's he hauls fuel. He drives a flammable gasoline truck. It was about three of them. YNs. He told me about it. So you know what ended up happening, right? So my friend bolted back to the car. So the YN said, "All right, I'll be right back." You know. So my friend forgot his his American Express. He forgot it. So that's why he had to pack up and leave. He had to cut that job short because, when the person said they coming back, he was gonna come back with you know, he was gonna come back with his American Express. My friend, that one time he said he forgets to bring his American Express. You know what happened? And that's what he told me the story, man. I was gonna bring this up as well, and I got many more stories like that. You know what I mean? With people. Uh, Omega says Jesus said that those who live by the sword dies by the sword, and many other YNs choose the sword. I'm indifferent to their choice. I know, right? I choose to live. Same here. Same here. Um, Joe Mama says I would skip the AR and look to a Ruger Mini 14. Hmm. Okay. Is it around the same price? Much more reliable. I know that's right. And use the same okay, the cartridge, okay, yeah, the cartridge. I keep one. I know that's right. I keep one in the tractor. I keep one in the tractor. I keep one in the tractor with me at all times for woodchucks. It never fails, even full or dust in grime. Oh, that's what's up. Thanks, Joe Mama. I appreciate it. And cheaper. Okay, I gotta write this down. Hold on. Mini. Okay, the Ruger. Okay, hold on for a moment. I gotta go ahead and put that on my notes as well. Okay, a Ruger. Oh, I gotta add it. Okay, I got the Ruger as well. I got that put up there. Yeah, Omega, and then the Ruger. Yeah, I got that for both of you guys. Yep. So I got that added on my note list, so I can probably look to that towards then an AR-15. Okay, that's cool. Because like I said, these YNs, and I'm encouraging the so-called the good black folks, because unfortunately, a lot of them have to live around the YNs. So therefore, um, for the good blacks that live in, it's because there's a lot of good black folks out here now, but they're gonna have to protect themselves, man. And the women too. The women gonna have to be acquainted with a gun. You got to know how to use one, and things like this. And you have to know how to clean it. Got to know how to be, and take and routinely going down there to the guns, the gun range, whether if it's indoor and outdoor. We got many of them around here in the Detroit area, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I like to go for the head and two in the chest. On the on the shootout dummy thing over there. Yep. See how accurate I can be. Because that's what time it is. We got to be more about that life than ever before. When we talk about the Second Amendment rights and basically gun control and be having respect for a gun, how to handle it and things like that, gun etiquette, all this stuff plays in a factor, man. You never know. If something were to break out, they coming in your house, you better know how to protect your castle, because they coming. And ain't just the YNs either that we got to be concerned with. We're talking about enemies, foreign or domestic. We have to be prepared, man. So, and I think we're gonna have to do a whole thing about guns and stuff on probably one of my other lives and stuff like that. Because if I was at home right now, I would have just typed in about the Ruger Mini 14. I would have pulled that up. You know, I would have pulled that up, and we would have looked at it and got educated on that gun. You just taught me something. I like how you say you always keep one in the tractor, though. Because the woodchucks, or we got bigger problems than the woodchuck. I wish the woodchucks was the only things we had to be concerned with, but unfortunately, it's these YNs that we had to be concerned with. Yep, that's the thing about it. We got to be concerned about this stuff today. Yep, it's a special type of concern right now with these YNs. They getting bolder and badder and worse. I don't do nightclubs. I don't do bars. I stay out of public places. Yeah, Joe Mama said woodchucks can't be two-legged too. I got you what you said. I said woodchucks. Yeah, I know, right? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was saying. The two-legged ones. I know you were. You never know. Yeah, what? Oh man, man, man. Yeah, cause even on a motorcycle though. You guys, even I don't ride motorcycles, but if I was most of the guys that ride motorcycles are carrying. I do know that for a fact. Because you can be very vulnerable out there riding a motorcycle, and things like that. Yeah, man. So you at home, you're just in case, because they coming though, Joe Mama. Omega, they coming. Omega drive a truck, CD. I mean, I know I got a lot of truck drivers, man. No, and I got a lot of them that are friends too. So yeah, because even as an Uber driver, man, I mean, because you know how it can go down. It can go down though, just in case. Now, I've been pretty blessed, but again, I try to pick up within reason. I'm always, my surroundings. I grew up in Detroit as well. Detroit is a beautiful city, downtown especially. Unfortunately, as Omega say, I'm sorry, as Joe Mama say, we got some woodchucks in some certain areas though. So these woodchuck YNs, man, I'm gonna start using that here, woodchucks. You know who these woodchucks are? The ones that's two-legged. Yeah, always out here trying to steal my wood, man. All the time, I'm getting tired of them. Oh man, that's funny. Ooh, man, that's funny. But yeah, but that's basically what it is, though, man. I'm surprised that I ain't have more pushback than just this one. He got triggered. He knew what the YN was right away. They just on some fuck shit, and they just want to think that we just gonna continue like accepting it, like Mega said earlier. You know, irrational, and they expect for us to be irrational at the same time. All off their emotions like a woman. Like a little woman in this room, though, acting acting just like a damn woman. See, it's understandable. Now, if a sister came in here and said what she said, that would be understandable to a point. But he had to come in here talking about how his father and all this other kind of stuff. He needs a country ass whooping. I wish we could bring that back, you know, because that's what's missing. The man in the house in the home is missing, and that's black, white, and other. Because I agree with you, Joe Mama. It ain't just a black problem. It's a problem in the United States in general, But for the statistics that I gotta look out for, it's like Chris Rock said, I ain't looking out for the media. I'm looking out for, the ninjas. The ninjas is what I'm looking out for. You can't go to an ATM at night. Who goes to an ATM at night? Because the first thing you're going to be looking out for is the ninjas. You know, that's who you got to look out for. When you go up here to these places, that's one of the reasons why you don't go to these festivals and everything, because you got to look out for the ninjas. You know, that's what it is. The ninjas are the problem, man. And the ninjas can be black, they can be white, they can be forever. I don't discriminate on that, but right now I got to address what's going on in the so-called black community because this is what have a lot of them in seeds. They get this no snitching stuff. They're afraid to because if you get on there and start talking, you got to live around them. That could be another issue. But if you ain't got no protection, man, that's gonna be a bigger issue though. So yeah. But yeah, I was enjoy having this conversation with you guys and this is still because normally I can go 3 or 4 times harder, but I wanted to talk about the problems and then we talk about the solutions. Like other than having your just in case or your American Express, we also talk about the passport as well. That's another thing. Joe Mama says, you are absolutely right. Many of these smart ass kids have never been knocked on their ass. It's true. They really haven't. They got all this, they got all this energy to come on and find me and then try to troll me. Yeah, this is the same group of people that we're talking about. And I knew I was going to get a YN, Joe Mama. I knew I was. I told Omega earlier before you came on. I knew I was going to get a YN today. And I'm normally I would get more, but I knew I was going to get one, at least one or so. But that's what it is, though. Yeah. But other than that, man, yeah, that's one of the things. Though they haven't been knocked on their behind, and once again, I feel real bad and sorry for that couple, man. But I mean, can you imagine going out there with your wife if you're married and have to take an ass whooping like that? And luckily to be alive, they could have seriously killed somebody out there because it was more of them and less of them. It was a white couple going to a jazz festival. That could have been anybody. That could have been me going out here with a lady friend going to a jazz. That's why I just say I don't like doing those type of things, especially in Detroit. I did them. We got a place. Omega know it. We got a place downtown Detroit, Joe Mama, called the Hart Plaza, and that's where they host a lot of those festivals. And they used to have the different ethnic festivals and stuff like that. There used to be the Mexican, the Latino festival. There was, I think, the Arab festival. They had a lot of the festivals, but you already know the YNs, and we know why they don't do them no more because of the YNs. The YNs fuck it up for everybody. That's the problem. Detroit at a certain time got to shut Detroit down. That's why I don't like driving downtown Detroit at night because I already know who's going to be down there. It's going to be YNs again. YNs come out at night, you know, and what do? Most of your violence is going to happen usually at night. I don't blame responsible couples. There ain't no reason to be out at night anyway, like that, you know. But sometimes I have to be out here. Other than that, if I ain't have to be out at night, I wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? But may as well have some just in case for something to come break out. Had that man what he's supposed to have. He's supposed to have protected his wife by having a GUN, man, for real, for real. But that situation was supposed to go totally different, and he would have been justified in his rights to protect himself. Gun owners and holders ain't out here with the chest out on some John Wayne stuff like that. We just like to be discreet though, CPLs, CCWs and stuff like that. And then you got to encounter a YN. You know what I'm saying? Yep. These YNs, man. That's why I say y'all gonna run across the wrong person. I'm addressing the YNs. If that Lupin is still in the room, you're gonna run across the wrong cat. And when you do, God have mercy on your soul. I'm gonna tell you right now. That's the thing about it, though, man. And that's the thing. You're not used to being challenged until you are. Thank you for the light too. I appreciate it. And you YNs, though, man, you guys are not used to being challenged. But like I say, Lupin and the rest of them, I see you around. I see you around, Lupin. I'm gonna see you around, man. You know what I'm saying? I see you around. I see you around. Because that's what it's going to have to take for these YNs, though, I had a YN that tripped out on me. I'm going to tell you my story. So I had a request to pick up at the airport. I'm at the airport parking lot right now. And I get a request. Sorry about that. So I'm over here at the airport. I got a call came in. So I'm over here at the airport. I get a request to pick up a YN, you know what I'm saying? So went and took a restroom break. Did you know that this guy called me up talking about it seemed like you taking so long, why you ain't here, and all the rest of this kind of stuff. This guy trying to berate me, and I'm the driver trying to pick his ass up, right? So I said, hey, I don't need nobody telling me where and what time I gotta be and so forth. If you can't understand that I told you that I'm taking a break, then you may want to catch the next one. Hung up on him, cancel the ride. So I get another request for another pickup at the airport, same location. And I knew the YN was going to be there. He come running his mouth, man, you charged me, mother MFer. You mother, and everything. And you know what I did? And I normally do with the YNs and stuff like that. So I gestured to him. I said, I see you around. I see you around. That's what I did. And you know what that meant. You know what I'm saying? So I told him, I see you around, you know. And this is the thing though. I learned that from Denzel. You remember Equalizer? Remember that movie Equalizer? Yeah, that's what you have to do with these YNs though. If y'all know what I mean, I gotta gesture it. Now I'm not advocating violence. I'm talking about protecting because that's what that white man, he should have had his protection to protect him and his wife for those YNs that jumped on them like a thing of hyenas. YNs are nothing more than hyenas. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how the hyenas that travel in packs, They're like the wild dogs. They travel in the packs in the Sahara, you know? They're looking for any type of prey that they can jump on, right? And you have to protect yourself. You got to take down some of these hyenas, man. You really do. Joe Mama says people need to be aware of their surroundings and act accordingly. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Joe Mama. We got to be aware of our surroundings, which I am as well too, and it triple at night because we're at a disadvantage. The element of surprise, you know what I'm saying? That's another thing, though. Omega says, I have sent him a good luck and a canceled. Right, I know what you're saying. All right, and canceled. I have said no more or no less. Yeah, no more or less. Yeah, I have to say no more or less. Exactly, right? So yeah, that's exactly what it is. I have to send him a good luck charm, right? It's have to say to him, and I said good luck charm, but yeah, for myself. But I got what Omega's saying. You gotta say good luck to him. Good luck, right? And canceled. Good luck and cancel. Because after that, that's it. Too bad we can't say the real words or what they really are, but I get the point. You know, delete it, canceled, and delete it. Cancel and delete it. So the answer and solution to deal with the YNs, you have to separate yourselves from them, and you got to always carry your just in case your American Express, because once again, the life you save is going to be your own, and that's going to send a message to the rest of them. Because if you lay a few of these YNs down, whatever, they send a message to the rest of them. I what's that? IP Pat Pat Go says, "What city are you um wrong in? Oh, Ubering in. Okay, yeah, I'm over here in the Detroit market and things. So Detroit is like Maryland, St. Louis. You know what I'm saying? They got some good stuff around here. I ain't gonna let the negative part, say about Detroit, because Detroit is still a beautiful city. It's not the people per se, it's the YNs. I pet ghosts. You know what I'm saying? It's the actual YNs. This is the problem. Like with many other cities, we have a overwhelmingly being basically overran by YNs, and we don't have enough pushback in our communities like we used to. So therefore, the only solution is having your just in case or your American Express. Never leave home without it. Without it, and it's unfortunate that some of them you're gonna have to cancel or delete. It's just how it is. Unfortunately, Omega says crazy, uncouth, nappy things, and yeah, nappy things. Yeah, question mark. Use the first letter. I got you. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay, iPad Ghost. I'm Ubering in Atlanta. Yeah. Atlanta, that's another one. Man, you guys are more off the hook with YNs than we are here in Detroit, I believe. Yeah, man, this weekend. I'm gonna tell you, iPad Ghost, man. Yeah, I've been an Uber driver for 10 and a half years, man. And I have to be very selective where I pick up as great money on occasions, but you got to be very, very careful, man, because once again, these IPs, man, I mean, I'm sorry, these YNs, these IPs, these YNs, man, they will challenge you. I had a few situations with and like I said, man, it was, it wasn't all of the time, but, depending, on, how I go. iPad Go says it's rubbing off on me. I might get to, I might go to the YN side. Or it's rubbing off on you. No, don't say that, iPad Ghost. Don't never say the YNs is rubbing off on you. Cause that's the whole. We had this whole I had this whole conversation, man. We all been. Don't do that though. I know you gotta be kidding. Tell me you're kidding. Lyft is all, yeah, that's why I don't do Lyft. I'm glad you said that, iPad Ghost. Lyft, I'm gonna let you guys know, Omega, and iPad Ghost brought up a good point. Lyft Omega, as well as Joe Mama. Lyft is full of YNs. That's why I'm on rock. I picked up a YN black chick a couple of weeks ago. Man, I'm gonna tell you, man, Lyft is full of YNs. You know why that is, though? iPad Ghost. Let me ask. I'm gonna ask you before I even tell you why. Why do you think there's more IP? Why there's more YNs on Lyft than it is on Uber? Why do you think that is, iPad Ghost? And then I'm gonna tell you what it is. He's sure right about that, man. I don't rock with Lyft, and I can make good money on Lyft, but it's too many YNs, man. There's YNs all over the place, man, on that one. Okay, so iPad Ghost says, but on Lyft, if you rate under 3 stars, you will never see them again. That's true. iPad Go says they think it's cheaper. iPad Go says it's not. It's true. They think it's cheaper, but they love Lyft. I don't get it, but they love Lyft. They love it, man. They love it, man. That's why. And I'm gonna tell you this. Maybe it's in Atlanta as well. I do get a lot of women on Lyft as well too, other than the YNs. My other beef with that is that a lot of women don't tip. Men tip more than women. And I saw that. I pick up a slew of women on Lyft. Nothing wrong with that. I wish they tip better. But I do get a lot of more YNs on Lyft, man. I really do. I really do. And I'm going to let you guys know, man. Omega, as well as Joe Mama, Lyft has a strict gun policy where if you want to drive for Lyft, you cannot have a gun in your car. Ain't that a bitch? They expect for you to drive out here with no gun, no protection in your car. Can y'all imagine that? Now, if you were forced to have to do it, Omega, would you get out here and drive for Uber and Lyft with no gun in the car? What sense does that make? Yeah, what sense does that make? Driving out here with no gun in the car, not being able to protect yourself, right? iPad Go says it's not. iPad Go says 1 out of 10 rides tips. It's true. Joe Mama says what Lyft don't know don't hurt them. Exactly. Don't, like I said, no, but don't think that we just out here just driving just to be driving. iPad Go says, what's your average ride payout? Average ride payout, I would say probably about $7 to $8. And that's on a good day, be honest. That's on average, you know. But like I said, when we at the airport, I can average $20 or 20 some odd dollars. That's the average amount. Anything else above that, you're doing well over average. Omega says that is why I quit Lorraine Cab. I remember Lorraine Cab, and they wanted me to drive in the hood, and they sure did. iPad Ghost says I only do long hauls. Yeah, I understand that. IP Ghost. I drive a Prius, so with me, I'm in my Prius right now. I drive a Prius, so I get very, very great fuel efficiency and things. But yeah, I do the long hauls too. I do both. But yeah, I remember Lorraine Cab Omega. They are gone, man. They had that old weird orange looking color cabs. A lot of their cabs was raggedy as I don't know what, man. They were like piece of shit that was about to break down and things. Yeah. iPad Go says I got 50 to the airport, 50 to Athens, 50 from Athens back. Oh man, you're doing excellent, man. If you getting that much, yeah, Atlanta is a good market though, man. Got to put up with a lot of YNs though. That's the problem with Atlanta. I don't even have no ambitions of going to Atlanta though, man. Dealing with a lot of YNs though, because I know I have to put a lot of them down though. Go night night, and things like that. So I don't. That's the thing about it though. I haven't heard about that downtown Atlanta traffic is bad. Yeah, man. But yeah, you got to protect yourself from these YNs, though, man. I'm advocating for blacks that live in the hood, the good black people that's responsible. You got to stand up against the YNs, though. Yep, you don't want to be going to no jazz festivals. Now that's gonna kill the that's gonna kill the money now. After because that what happened in Cincinnati, it can happen to you, but it killed the money. That should have never happened. iPad Go says not really, only certain spots downtown. I hear that. Omega says they shut down after a couple of drivers got erased. Yeah, yeah. To be a cab driver today, man, you put your life in jeopardy for real, for real. iPad Go says mainly at the strip clubs. I stay in the whole white sub. That's what I have to do. You sure right about that? That's why I know what you're doing though, iPad Ghost. You gotta be out in the white suburbs. You don't want to be anywhere in the city. The strip clubs, boy. They strip clubs out in Atlanta is very popular. Those young YNs, man, they love the strip club. Even those bulldagging dykes and all the rest of them, man, they love going to them strip clubs, man. And they so ratchet, hood, and ghetto, man. Unattractive with them nasty tattoos, long ass eyelashes, overcooked makeup, fake phony ass weave hair. That's disgusting, man. Ain't no telling how dirty that scalp is underneath that damn phony ass hair that they wear, man. Boy, I tell you, if it's a travesty to see how black women used to look to the modern day, boy. I tell you, man, what the, you know what I'm saying? You got to deal with this type of nonsense. They're part of the problem too. This is what I'm saying. The YNs on the female side too. It's horrible, man. Yeah, IP Go says the Dukes are horrible. Oh, I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. Yeah, that's why I had to do this whole show thing on this type of stuff, man. Talking about it. We're just addressing why, there's solutions dealing with the YNs, you know? Like I said, I run across them. Some of them, I look for names because we already know, when I run across a Jordan, that could be either or. So no names are kind of tricky. But when you get them, it's not always with these LaQuisha type of names for the women, because I really don't like picking them up either. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember I went over there one time to pick her up. She's into it with her boyfriend. He's all out of the house screaming, hollering, and yelling. This is what the YNs do. They can't even keep their stuff in the house. They bring their trash with their personal problems out here for the world on world display. That's why they make world star hip hop all the time. They make world star all the time, man. No, they make it. They make this stuff. Omega says, rather not comply and live to find another job than to comply and die. Judged by 12, carried by 6. That's the old libertarian. I used to love saying that all the time, Omega. I'd rather be judged by 12 than to be carried by 6. That's absolutely right. Libertarian. Libertarian. Yeah. Yeah, man. That's exactly what it is, though, man. Because no matter what, if it's Atlanta, Detroit, Cleveland, it don't matter. Cincinnati, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Maryland, it's off the chain. What's the number one murder? St. Louis is number one murder city in the United States. For those that don't know, they are number one. St. Louis. You know, I only rolled through St. Louis. I never did no Uber. I never spent no time in there or anything like that. But St. Louis, that ain't what you want. You don't want St. Louis. I wouldn't even drive for Uber in St. Louis. And I know St. Louis, it ain't all the St. Louis though. You got suburbs and other areas, but you know what I'm talking about. Because these YNs are the problem. They are the ones that's doing all this type of stuff. And they will delete you. I had a friend of mine, right? I got a friend of mine. I ain't gonna say I had a friend of mine. I got a friend of mine. He is from Iran originally. Uber driver. Drove a red Prius station wagon, right? Beautiful red Prius. I used to have a station wagon Prius too. It's called a Prius V for versatility, right? So what ended up happening is that he come out of one of the suburb white areas. He took a ride, took him all the way downtown Detroit. Then he got called into, we call it the dead zone over there on East Warren. Megan know what I'm talking about over there. That area is annexed off, a lot of dead shrubs and stuff, a lot of houses due to blight and all that stuff, and firebomb, So in any event, so the remnants of over there, he got called in over there. So guess what ended up happening? So he gets over there, he got approached by three YNs wearing handkerchiefs as masks, and one of them put that thing on the back of his head, told him to get out. You know, told him to get out. He put that gun right up there to the back of his head. He's sitting. He jumped right behind him and put that thing on the back of his head. This is what these three YNs, right? So my friend, that's an Uber driver, his whole life flashed before his eyes. He broke down and cried to me. He said, "I didn't think I was going to ever see my family again." He said, "I'm gonna." He told his story. He told it on the news because I had a plug on Channel 7, so I hooked him up because Uber was pussyfooting and slowing around, right? So I told him, "Skip Uber. I'm gonna have you to contact somebody." And and he did, and gave his story and things like that, gave his testimony of what he experienced and stuff like that. He said he'll never go into Detroit, especially downtown Detroit, ever again. He said that he only gonna stay in the white suburbs. He's not gonna deal with that. And I said, not only that you gotta stay in the white suburbs, but I told him the YNs are out there too. Don't think the white suburbs is a safe haven. It's just that if you're gonna pick up somebody in a car, now by us being from where the YNs are from, I can usually spot them out a lot sooner. I know what I'm looking for a lot of times, and things. But yeah, that's what it's the truth. That's what ended up happening. That happened around November. It was before Thanksgiving and things like that. He's a immigrant that came over here. That's when they had that refugee thing, though, making a living as an Uber driver. His name is Ephraim. He's a good friend of mine. So I know he wouldn't mind for me telling his story though. And I tell his story though, but he's luckily to be alive. I was just happy that nothing happened to him where he got deleted. He's lucky to be alive. He could have been unalived. You know what I'm saying? So this is the situation. Once again, I got many YN stories to tell, just like that one. It was three of them, three YNs. Now what would y'all do in a situation like that? I wouldn't pick them up because I would have known right away. I know that area over there. So no, I would have canceled the ride and kept going. I'm not gonna put myself in harm's way because, like I said, at night it doesn't matter at day or nighttime, but the element of surprise is more likely to happen, especially at night. Though it ain't like we animals that we can see in the dark. But, element of surprise, these YNs jump in your ride, jump in the back seat, and put that thing up to you. Now, he got lucky. They stole a Prius. The YNs steal a Prius. All the cars, because they do that hijacking stuff, right? They're carjacking a car, right? And that's what they did. They carjacked the Prius. Out of all the cars to, they carjacked the Prius. What sense does that make, right? Priuses are known for being a fast vehicle, less than 100 horsepower. Are you kidding me? They 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 take this guy's Prius, joyriding and whatever they did with it. He had his life in that car. I'm talking about his wallet, credit cards. What else he had? Cell phone. He had to go to a local bar to get help. He had to let him know that he was robbed at gunpoint and they stole his car. Can you imagine that? Omega says, I was told by a white liberal in Fraser, yeah, I know where that is, that I am paranoid. I told him it was his white privilege to not have to worry about YNs. Right, right. And I use the hard R. Yeah, I know that's right. Yeah, I know what you. Yeah, right. That's right. Because yeah, you ain't got to worry about these young. You know. I got what you're saying. Errors. You ain't got to worry. Yeah, and that's the thing about it. Some of them don't have to live with them. Well, some of us do have to live with them. I'm just saying that we have to have a solution. So it ain't about us being paranoid because he's hypocritical. I say, well, why don't we go and test that theory? If you want, I can take you to many hoods in Detroit, day or nighttime, and let's see how you feel with no gun talking about I'm being paranoid. It's always the white liberals, man, that's out of touch with the people, out of touch of really what's going on. You know what I'm saying? They will delete you. Make no mistakes about it. They don't care about your humanitarian love. That's the problem. We got to have answers out there. And unfortunately, we do got the answer, and that's the GUN. Do not leave home without it because they are not messing around. You want to get carjacked? You want to get raped? You want to be deleted and so forth, you got to have protection. And I'm advocating and I stand with the Second Amendment right. We have the right to bear arms, right? This is exactly what it is. Yep. Don't let no government infringe on our rights as a gun owner, and which the liberals tried to do with this demo KKK rat stuff. Let them not infringe on our gun rights. Our gun rights are the only thing that make America America, right? Omega says they'll take your shit and and still try AB and erase you. They will. They would take your shit. They would try you, take your shit, just like what Omega said. They will try it. These YNs and things like that, they're out of control more so than ever. I never seen it this bad when I was their age. No father at home for most of them. This is why they always getting into stuff all the time. They get into it with their girlfriends. You can be at a supermarket. We got Myers around here, Kroger's. We've seen it happen at the checkout counters, acting a fool, acting ignorant, getting into it with the people that work there instead of dealing with a situation. If you bought a product, trying to take it back, don't have the receipt, there's a way of handling things. Everything don't have to be handled in violence. But you can't tell the YNs that. They ain't trying to hear that. Ain't listening. They're not listening to us. They don't even respect their elders. And they sure in hell don't respect no black man at all that's our age. Man, you gotta listen to old head. Yeah, that's why you got to have your protection. We're not out here educating no more, man. What the remedy is having your GUN. Because the life you save is going to be your own, man. So these YNs and stuff, they just love popping their gums, and they just think that because of what I look like, you know what I'm saying, that I may not have some just in case. Yeah. Yeah, that's what they call old head. You old head. The old heads. Instead of the OJs, the old heads. It's like, damn, I don't even look that old, but I'm still considered an old head to them, though. Because anybody that's considered 30 and up, you are old, you know, which is funny, though. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, that's funny. iPad Ghost says, no one can save us, right? iPad Ghost says, welcome to hell. Yeah. Welcome to the jungle. Yeah, remember that song? That's exactly what it is. We are living in the modern day jungle, and these YNs ain't nothing but of the monkey tribes, and we got to survive. Omega says, just call it American Express. LOL. I know that's right. I'm going to have to start doing that. You got to carry your American Express card or your American Express. Never leave home without it. Never leave home without it. Whether you're an Uber driver, if you're out here or not, you want to always carry your American Express. Joe Mama says, then what's the age when you're a unk? Anybody that's an uncle would be 40 years old and up. Yeah, because some of the 30-year-olds, but yeah, anybody that's like, so if you're like the kids' age, teens, up to under 30, if you're 40 and up, you consider an unk. Yeah. iPad Go says American Action Express Desert Eagle. Yeah, I like that one too. iPad Ghost. Oh man, iPad Go says 25 and up is a unk. I thought it was 30. iPad Ghost. Okay, 25. You sound younger though, iPad Ghost. I could be wrong, but I gotta take your word for it though, man. Yeah, because in actuality, they already consider 30 as old anyway, though. Yeah, they consider 30 old. I remember I used to think when I was young, I used to think people that was 30 years old, it was old. But yeah, man. So it's even worse for them. These YNs, man. They're not playing though. Yep, they're not playing. They got a lot of these stolen guns with the filing off of the serial numbers. They got the kits out there where you can make your own, just in case. Man, it was that damn bumblebee try to get up in my car, man. When's the last time you seen a bumblebee, man? He was a big, thick one too, man. Good thing I'm not allergic to, man. I don't want no bumblebee sting. You see me fanning off? Man, if you don't get away from here, bumblebee, you can get it too, like these YNs, man. That bumblebee can get it too. Oh man. iPad Go says 25 and up, right. It can make you a unk. iPad Go says 30 and up is a pastor. Hmm. I've never been called a pastor, but I get it though. Yeah, I get it. They still calling me Unk. What's up, Unk? I don't truly look my age though. I get it. Omega says, keep getting knocked off young, right? And you already know, knocked off young, right? Of course they think we are old. Yeah, exactly. They think that we are old and they think that we never been their age. This is crazy to me though. Joe Mama says, I never heard that. Oh yeah, Joe, man. Joe Mama, yeah, that's the thing about it, man. We have special type of wording. But yeah, for the women, they call them auntie, right? That's what they call for the women. Yep. Girls is 25 plus. For the girls is grandma. Yeah, they say that too. Grandma, auntie, you know. Yep. Yeah, it's the craziest thing though. I mean, I get it, but yep, I get it. Yep. Man, I ain't yeah. I guess you could be 25 years old. Can you be 25 years old and be truly a grandma? No way in the world you can be a grandma. Can you? Can you really be? Unless you, I guess you could though, because these kids today, you already know, man, they humping at a young age today. Yeah, I guess you could be a grandma at 25 years old. It was nearly never heard of when we was growing coming up. Rarely, but now it's like the norm. This stuff is the norm, man. Yep. So for you guys that's coming in, yep, I had like maybe like one YN that came in this room earlier. I really thought I was gonna get more. They seeing all y'all in there as moderates. I think y'all scared them off. Kids having kids. Yeah, exactly, Omega. Kids having kids. They over here having children and stuff at a very young age. And guess what? The responsibility is pushed on the parents, the mamas, the daddies, or the grandparents. You know, you get up in your golden years and still got to take care of children, man. It's amazing, man. What the? You know, that's something else, man. Yeah, that they have no structure, no accountability, no responsibility. They're just young, wild, and foolish. You know, we're talking about the Pookies and Ray Rays out here of the world, these YNs and things like that. And unfortunately, a lot of them don't even live to get, they'll never see 30, man, let alone 25 at the rate that a lot of them going. Very emotional, flip off at the mouth. They think everybody is, you know, this soft, soft, you know. Yeah, what do you say, man? You too fat. You too fat, you know. I may not know I may not know kung fu, but I know gung fu, that's for sure. The American Express. That's for sure. It don't take much to do anything like that. You don't be out here tussling with no YNs. What am I, 20 some odd years old, gonna be out here tussling with some young people? What I would like to do is like what I told them. It's a thing called a country ass whooping. For those from the South know what I'm talking about. And that's where you take all the clothes off. You give them a nice ass whooping. That's called a country ass whooping. Omega says, Nora's no obligations, responsibilities, or accountability. Exactly. It's the Noras. They have to learn Noras. But I think it's too far gone, man. I don't think that we can ever come back. And it's not me being pessimistic. I don't think that we're going to ever come back from this level of lack of Norris. I don't think we ever, and I like that, Omega. I don't think we're going to ever come back from these lack of Norris. And once again, no obligations, responsibilities, nor accountabilities. I don't think we're going to ever come back from that. I really don't, man. Just the way it's going right now, I just don't see it. You better just carry your American Express is what I'm going to say. That's going to be the best example. And I would like to start seeing more of women getting their, CPLs and so forth because, yeah, yeah, the life they save is going to be their own. Whether if you're a young woman, if I even had let's say a daughter that was going to college and stuff like that, she would not only have to have her pepper gel and stuff like that, but you're going to have a couple of other things though, because they're not out here playing. They're over here taking the poo and taking the pee and all this other stuff. And we already know, you got to be prepared, ladies, as well. Especially you ladies. Y'all got to be, man, yeah. Sherry, if you're hearing, hopefully you got yourself a American Express. Sherry like to be a ninja ghost sometimes. She like to, not. I mean, I'm talking about listening ninja is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, so people like Sherry and what's that other name, Holly, and all the rest of y'all. Yeah, you wanna make sure that you have your American Express. Don't never leave home without it though. Whether you're on a farm up there, Sherry, because you definitely want to have American Express. Like Joe Mama say, one in the tractor. you know, that's the thing about it. Get off my daddy's land. What is this? What is this? What's that TV show that used to come on? Not Knots Landing, but Dallas. Jr. Jr. Huey. Yeah, remember when they shot Jr. Who shot Jr.? Omega says white pill. Yeah, yeah, white pill. If more conservatives and libertarians, blacks have 3+ kids and are married, the YNs will go out due to attention. What's that? Oh man, hold on for a minute. Annihilation, right? No, that's not no, that is, what's that word? You gotta help me with that one. They would go out due to, um, yeah, adoration? Due to adoration. Thanks, you gotta put it in caps. Man, my glasses can't even catch that one, you know? And I'm over here reading my reading if I hadn't even had my reading glasses, ooh, man, it'd be worse. I couldn't even see it. No, they are okay. No, they are a virus. They're all that, that's for sure. Yeah, they are all of that. That is for sure, man, you know. Yeah. They gotta be yeah, the black conservatives, libertarians. Yep, you're absolutely right. Had we would have had, yeah, ultra, okay, altrition, yeah. I mean, I love it, man. You hit me with another big word, man. I'm gonna have to look that one up, though. Omega, you really, man. That's what I say, man. Your vocabulary is way better than mine, man. You know, altrition, altrition. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that one up. I love it though, man. I'm gonna have to look that one up. Alteration. It's an altrition. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that word up, man. You know, I admit it's not in my vocabulary at all. You know, a lot of other words are, but I'm always willing to learn even more, though. You know. All right, I'm back now. There I go. All right, guys, there I am now. There he is. Yeah. So if you guys, if you have lost the signal, I do apologize, though. Sometimes the phone is overheating. Yeah, I think it's kind of heating up a little bit. You know what I'm gonna do? Let me go ahead and do this. I'm gonna turn on my I'm gonna put the AC on a little bit to help cool this phone down. Yeah, I'm gonna turn that. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can really hear over the fan. I'm gonna turn that fan down a little bit. There we go. I'm gonna turn the fan down just a little bit. I just want a little cool air on my cell phone here because it looks like it's trying to overheat a little bit. Yeah, but I'm amazed of your knowledge though, Omega man. That's amazing, man. Yeah. At least the military academy is better than the public education that I got. I'm actually doing pretty damn good for public education, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Because it's worse, man. With the YNs, it's worse. It wouldn't be, you know what I'm saying? I know I have my little problems with certain words. Omega says, I crap and Sam suck. I know, right? That's exactly what it is. I got the I crap, and you also got the Sam sucks. Never had heating issues with LG. Yeah, I'm over here sitting in the sun though too. In all fairness, so that's why I got to put the, you know, what I'm saying I got to put the AC on, bring it up a little bit. If you can hear me over the fan motor, I hope without it coming up as background noise, because I know it amplifies or whatever. But yeah, that way it's gonna cool down a little bit. Yeah. That's the only thing about being an Uber driver. You got to have your phone stuck up. And yeah, we got a Samsung office over here. I'm sorry, we have an LG office over here. You know where it's at? It's over here. I think it's in Madison Heights or Troy, one of those areas. I ran across a tech engineer. She was a Korean lady, and we had a nice conversation. She's an engineer, worked for LG, you know, yeah, and things. But yeah, man, it's like one of those type of things, though, man. Can't wait to use my passport. I do plan going to Japan next year and stuff like that. So get myself in shape. That's one of the things on my to-do list, and some other things I'm gonna do to really step up. You know, I was always a thin guy before. But now I got to get myself in shape more so than ever for these YNs. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing about it. We already are overran by YNs, especially in the so-called Black community, where your life that you could say may be your own. It's true. iPad Go says Samsung. Oh, hold on, man. I missed one. iPad Go says miso honey. Miso honey. And iPad Go says Samsung Korean lady gave me a rub and a tub in the Detroit Aquarium. Oh, wow. If that ain't a happy ending, I don't know what is, though, you know? Man, you can't even get that from a modern day woman these days, you know? Let alone a hug or, you know what I'm saying, a rub or a tug or, hmm you can't even get a sloppy topping, you know, these days, you know? Oh, man, man, man. Yeah, yeah. Miso honey. Yeah. I was thinking about Full Metal Jacket, man. Oh, that was so funny when I first heard that. Me so honey, me so honey. Me love you long time. Ah, man, man, man. Can you imagine being in Vietnam in the 60s? Man, yep, yep. I wasn't even born then, you know. Oh, man. The YNs, man. So if you're a YN coming in the channel or whatever like that, do you have anything to say for yourself? How you disgrace yourself, family, as well as the community. The world is looking at you, YNs, you know, and this is one of the reasons why everybody want to move away from you. This is one of the reasons why whites live in the country. This is why whites live up in the UP up here in Michigan. If you was here in Michigan, you'll be up in the UP somewhere, you know? You'll be far away from the YNs, right? Because I get it. You got families, open space, you know what I'm saying? You can do a lot of things in the country that you can't do in the city. You can shoot and all kind of stuff, you know? Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, Alabama snake meat. Alabama snake meat. Alabama snake. I ain't up on all of the words, you know what I'm saying? I'm not up on all of the words, but I'm trying to learn a lot of them, you know? Yep, that is something else though, you know? I'm still not doing too bad though. With still got a full set of hair though, you know. Surprisingly, you know, you would have thought it would be all grayed out, right? Nothing wrong with gray. You got what you got, you know. That's supposed to be wisdom. We're not supposed to be over here, you know, looking down on this stuff though. You're over here trying to save. If we could save the YNs, but a lot of them you just can't save. Just can't save them, man. You can't save all of the YNs, man. You know. Yeah, just how it is. So if you a YN coming into the channel, first of all, welcome to Some Random Guy Speaks. You know, I'm your host, Tony G. First and foremost. Secondly, with your YNs though, you know, you have to understand why you act the way you act and behave the way you behave. And a lot of you do not have a father in the home. Not only is bad, we're speaking not only for young black men or young black ninjas, we're talking about the young black ninjas as well. Chris Rock made a very powerful statement in his Bigger and Blacker. I do believe that when he was early in his career, and everybody laughed like I don't know what. We're talking about there is a difference. You got black folks. He said, I love black folks. I love black folks, but I cannot stand, you know that voice he have, I cannot stand me no ninjas. That's what he said, you know. Damn, we can't live around the ninjas. We have a grand opening, grand closing. It's true, you know. We can't go nowhere with YNs. YNs, man, they make it bad for black folks. Man, I can't stand me no black. I mean, some ninjas. Love me some black folks. Love everybody else, but I can't stand YNs. YNs, man, terrorize. They've been terrorizing the black community ever since they came into existence, man. It's the truth. iPad Ghost says, just got a $40 ride. That's what's up, man. Yeah, I'm actually signed back on, man. I had to take a break because I've been driving since earlier this morning. Um, yeah, so ball, okay, what you have down here, 8 ball for the full metal jacket. That's what Omega says. When the girl says, no soul, brother, to Buku. Yeah, no soul, brother. I remember that part. Yeah, no soul, brothers. No soul, brothers. Soul, brother. I ain't heard soul, brother. What is this, the 70s? What's up, soul, brother? I ain't heard soul brother. You know, soul brother. That's a soul brother. Can you imagine if I'd have called my channel soul brother? Talking in 1970s words and so forth, you know? Yeah. Talking about you jive turkey, you know? TCB, taking care of business, you dig? Oh man, that's something else though. They did some of that on Naked Gun though, you know? Yeah. Yeah, that's funny, man. Mm, mm. Funny. Yeah, yeah. Too buku. Soul brother. Yeah. Only had one hater come in here though. I don't get too many of them, man. I want to entertain a few of them, man, but they're too afraid of y'all, man. Y'all all moderators over here, man. They said, no, I don't want to get kicked off. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they know they ain't got no defense on this type of stuff, man. Yeah, there it is. It's lighten up. There we go. Lighten up. There we go, y'all. Now you can see me. See how that phone done cooled off now? I'm over here doing the field test. Yeah, that done cooled off now. I'm just waiting on my ride, though, man. I'm going to get my ride very soon. iPad Ghost, man. Yep. And I'm going to be back on out here. So, yeah, man. Soon as it give me the, I hate that trip radar stuff. Yeah, I can't stand it. Just give me the ride instead of trip radar. Make me have to compete with a slew of with Uber drivers and stuff, man. Terrible. Yeah, but yeah, man, that's the thing about it. So yeah, look like we covered down a lot of stuff for the IPs. And another thing. The problem is your L sharptons, or L what we call it, snaketons. That's a better word for them. You know what I'm saying? So these are the people, and there's many others. You know, Umar Johnson don't call out these people. He don't call them out. He should be. We're talking about the YNs. He won't call them out because he knows if he attacked them, he is attacking the black woman. His best money, or I should say, yeah, his best money is coming from who? The single black woman. He protects her. A lot of them protect the black woman. The single black woman is protected by a lot of these fake grifting ass ninjas, right? That we call so-called leaders or elders. You know, iPad Ghost says en route to respawn camp. Okay. Yeah, arrest ponds camp. Huh. Arrest pond camp. Yeah, I know what pawn is, you know. Yeah, pawn shops. Yeah. iPad Ghost says Uber pays for ASU. Yeah, Uber pays for ASU. Yeah. Yeah, they pay for a lot of things. I hate the medical runs. Sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't, you know. But there are multiple stops that I don't do. I don't do multiple stops. I don't do them at all, you know. Man, I look at a lot. Look at that, man. I'm looking a lot brighter on here now, man. Now that my phone done cooled off, you guys can see me in all my glory now. Look at that, boy. Yeah, yeah. Because I knew it was overheating, man. Being in the sun. Yeah, being in the sun, though, you know. but men, yeah, man. Yeah, so this is the thing, though. I don't think that it can be saved. I think that we have to go ahead and take our, basically, you already know, take your just in case or your American Express. Make sure you don't leave home without it. That's really the only answer. They ain't trying to listen to us. Maybe they'll listen to, yeah, we got an ASU here. I used to live in Phoenix, so I know what you meant. Yeah, I pick up a lot of university students, and things. So yeah, the Sun Devils. Yeah, they got a beautiful campus in Tempe, Arizona, man. In fact, I did live out there in Phoenix. Yeah, the restaurant. I just waited and camped for the ride for the long rides. Yeah, I get you. Long rides are very profitable because once again, I don't know what kind of car you drive, iPad Ghost, but I ain't mad at you, man, because that's what everybody around here. I'm in the queue waiting like everybody else as Uber Lyft drivers. Yeah. So that's the thing about it. In fact, I'm gonna do this. You see over here, let me see. Come on now. I don't know if you can see it. Hold on for a minute. Man, why aren't you working? Huh. I'm over here pushing the button and it ain't doing jack. You know what? That works. It won't let me face my camera the other way. Oh well. I was gonna show you something real quick. That's really weird. It's not every time I'm pressing on it. My bad. Uh-oh. I was over here talking. Okay. Sorry about that, y'all. Pressed the wrong button. Sorry about that, iPad Ghost, Omega. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, a little bit of it was not a technical issue, it's my fault. Pressed the wrong button. But as I was saying, let me repeat what I was saying here. We're- Eye crap. This eye crap stuff. The talk time don't even last as long on this thing here, man. Crap. Paying for crap. Crap. Crapola. Crap. But at any event, so if you guys can hear me now, I do apologize. What I was saying is we're over here talking about um, the response time, right? When it comes down to the first responders, they don't come into a lot of these areas because we already know. I mean, I'm not saying they don't come. It's going to be longer as opposed to in areas of prominence. Homeowners paying taxes, they're going to have a faster response time. This is why the suburbs, they get a very, was it 2 minutes, 3 minutes? They there. The police is there. You can't go in Oakland County and expect for the police 6, 7 minutes. Lives is in the balance, you know what I'm saying? But in these inner cities, certain areas is really, really bad when it comes down to the response time. Downtown Detroit, you're gonna get a faster response time. Same thing again, correlation with the taxpayers, right? It is what it is. Omega says, you mean secondary response. Exactly. You you are your first responder. Exactly. I like that, Omega. Yeah, because we got to be our first responder. Because in these inner cities, it's a second responder. If anything second, that person is dead. Excuse my French. That person is deleted. Man, he's already he's already deleted. It's canceled out. You can't be over here waiting 6 or 7 minutes, 10 minutes, waiting on the second responders to come. What kind of stuff? You know what I'm saying? You can't do that, but there's a correlation. A lot of renter, and it shouldn't be this way. Whether you're a renter or owner, it should not be this way. But they get first presidency, presidents. They get the first presidents, right? Talking about the people downtown Detroit, some at Palmer Woods, some of these other areas, Indian Circle, Indian Village, but they still still got some nice houses over there, right? These areas in Detroit that I'm naming, they actually still have neighborhoods. Rosedale Park, they still have neighborhoods, very nice houses, right? In these particular areas. Boston Edison District. If you pull these areas up, these areas was a creme of the creme, and it still are not bad. They got a faster response time than than some of these other areas were inhabited by YNs. YNs are once again the reason as to why we have secondary responders. One of them is not the main reason, it's one of them. There's other reasons why that is. They're like way down on the list. But a pizza delivery person, Omega know what I'm talking about. Some of you guys know what I'm talking about. If you live within a certain radius of Detroit, depending on where you are, on the west side, east side, the pizza delivery man is not coming. His chances of coming on the east side in certain areas would be better than on the west side. But on the east side, he's not going down Beaconsfield and Moross. He's not going in these areas. He's not going down Chalmers. He's not going down Kirchhoff and all these other areas. Are you kidding me? You know what I'm saying? He's not going to go in them areas like that. But Omega says tax base, most other areas are low tax. That's why. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's true. Low tax base. And this is another thing. Blacks got to understand you get what you pay for. If you pay into the tax structure like everybody else, there should be it should not be a such thing as a ghetto or a hood. But there's a lot of things that led up to that reason. We know that the working class poor don't pay into the tax structure, as Omega's plainly put it together. Because when you don't pay into the tax structure, you get second response and all type of stuff. You think the police is going to protect you? And the stupid thing, here's another thing. I said this. I was on mute when I said it. Omega, y'all remember when they had this gun drive collaborate? It was a collaboration between the city, law enforcement, and the community, where they said, turn in your guns. Because we cited that the problem is coming from guns, gun violence. Get rid of the guns, no more violence, right? Turn in your guns, right? That's what they were saying. Turn in your guns. You think by turning it, am I going to turn in my gun due to gun violence? No, not going to do that. I would never. It's even in our Constitution. The day that we give up our gun rights to allow and trust the government that's going to protect us, look at the stupid thing that the UK did. Look at the foolishness they did over in Australia, you know? That's the dumbest thing that both of y'all have done over there in Australia as well as the UK, man. You are some of the foolish, ignorant people to turn in your guns. Now you are at the mercy of the government. You, they bitch. They say jump with Australia, jump UK. And then here's the thing about it. Oh, now that we got rid of all of the guns, they're still over there stabbing people in London. They're walking around with knives and machetes. They said, oh, I thought it was gun violence was the number one thing, huh? So now what, you going to ban all the knives now? Well, we're going to take care of everybody dying now because of senseless violence with the knife. It's the knife's fault. It's the gun. It's their fault. It's the guns. Guns kill people. That's what they're saying. Guns kill people, right? Stupid people and people that protecting themselves kill people. Let's keep it real. Omega says, Benjamin Franklin, those who give up their liberty. I knew you were going to bring this up. Thank you so much. Let's say it again. This is what Omega says. Benjamin Franklin, those, quote, those who give up their liberty for safety will have neither, right? It's true. Omega says, yes, they have purchase permits for knives. It's the stupidest thing ever. And you have to go directly home with the knife. That's why I'm saying, man, I'm so happy. Actually, y'all should be blessed to be part of the United States, be in the United States. Because look at the UK, right? That was about to happen here. Thank God we have the Constitution. Look at all those YNs over there in London right now. Boy, can you imagine though? Can you imagine, Omega? If we was living over there, man, we would have to move because they don't have no Constitution. They don't want their people over there in the UK to protect themselves. Their government is gone. UK have fallen. It has fallen to the white liberals over there. UK have fallen, man. Germany is fallen. UK is worse. Over there, shoot. I don't even want to go over there, man. You know what I'm saying? Because most of the other whites that living in the suburban areas, you got to get past Sussex and Manchester and all these other areas and stuff over there in the UK alone, though. Going in London when it's inhabited by immigrants and stuff that they just allow over here as well, that's doing a lot of the violence as well as right along with the YNs. Man, that's why I couldn't live in London, man. Screw that, They're out there, got to get a permit just to have a knife now. Well, I thought it was gun violence, right? I'm saying to the stupid liberals, I thought the reason that we have all this violence because it was due to guns. Now it's due to knives. What else is going to be? You can't have a club. You can't have brass knuckles. You can't have mace. We already know. Or pepper gel. What else is going to be? You know, Canada too. Canada it's illegal to carry a mace, pepper gel, pepper spray in Canada. They treat that like a serious weapon. Canada sucks too. Sorry, but it does. You know, because you don't have the Constitution. You have privileges given to you by the government. And this is one of the main reasons that the YNs is on the uprise in these particular countries. And we were about to be overran over here, but we stopped it because we voted for somebody, and that's Donald J. Trump. He's doing the work and giving great pushback against these white liberals, the demo KKK rats that have no leadership. They are in disarray, and they're fighting amongst each other, and they're trying to devour each other, which I love it. I'm not boo-hooing about it. I'm actually happy that they are in disarray. Omega says yes. Oh yeah, I already read that already. Yeah, so that's the thing about it, man. There's nothing great or good that's going to come from a nation that supports illegal immigration as well as the YNs. You go harder on good people, and you give them the guns to go terrorize their own neighborhoods. We know that this stuff have happened when the dope came through in America, in the inner cities, through the GIs and stuff, COINTELPRO, and all this other type of stuff that have happened. Why these people are why drugs came in here, and then what else? They put the guns on the street corners. I remember this ain't urban legend. There was stories of this is how these YNs, I want to say, most of them were black. This is how they had the guns, right? We're talking about submachine guns or sub-automatic rifles and all the rest of this stuff. Tech 9s and Uzis and AKA 47s and all this stuff. SKS full stocks and all the rest of this stuff. All that it was a crate that was dropped off in the inner cities. And what they were really hoping is, and they were going to utilize those guns, and then they basically ain't nothing more than modern day warlords like they have in Africa. Tribal, because blacks are still tribal people, right? That's why you got the Bloods and the Crips. You got and the rest of them, right? Latin counts and all the rest of them. You got so many of these groups out there. You know what I'm saying? Pyru and all the rest of them. You got so many. They ain't nothing more than clannish tribes, right? Just like they have over there in Africa, that's warring with each other. Look exactly like each other, but they're at war with each other. And who's in the middle of the war, right? It's us. And some of us have to live in the jungles. We have to live and deal with these YNs, man. That's the problem right there. You think the police care a rat ass about first responder, right? Coming into the hood where there's been attacks, where EMS workers have been attacked by YNs. I don't want to be an I'm gonna get this thing back up and things because I got a lot to say now since I've been gone for over 3 months. But I'm still alive and well. Thank God of that. But I appreciate you all, Omega, Howard, you as well. We also have, let me see here, iPad Ghost popped in. Joe Mama, Yo Mama. No, Joe Mama. Who else? Yeah. Who else I'm going to put a shout out? Oh, yeah, Sherry Sherry lady, Sherry, Sherry later, Sherry later. Yeah, she likes that. Who else? I ain't seen Billy Sharp in a long time, but let alone haven't been on in a long time. So that's fair. Shout out to Jimmy. Yep, Jimmy, he got a great channel too, man. Jimmy got a great channel. Channel, I just want to say, he's a strong Trump supporter, man. Strong Trump supporter. You know, yeah. Jimmy, shout out to his daughters, his two beautiful black daughters and stuff like that. So yeah. Mega says, I guess MC doesn't want to troll anymore. Yeah, I wonder why. I wonder why, Omega, but it's all good. Yeah, it's all good though, He thought I was gonna be insensitive to my weight and thought we're gonna have a back and forth. Well, if I'm fat, what are you? You know what I'm saying? Just a little overweight, you know. But I know what he was trying to do. It didn't work. Got thick skin. You gotta have thick skin if you're gonna be overweight. You can't be out here being sensitive and being overweight. You know what I'm saying? Shoot. They have a field day with you. You don't realize we came up as Generation Xers. We done seen it all, my friend. You know what I'm saying? We had to deal with bullies much worse than what you're doing. That's lollipop stuff. Are you kidding me? Yeah, man. Generation X. You know what I'm saying? It's all good, though. For you Generation Xers out there that rock with me, I got a lot of Generation Xers. I got millennials too. All is welcome. It's all good. But yeah, Mega Man, I'm about to go ahead and shut it down. Yep, I thank you all, you guys, for being on. Joe Mama, not Joe Mama, but Joe Mama, on coming on and stuff like that. Yep, Howard, yeah, it's all good. Omega says, D Generation X, we got 2 words for you. Suck it. That's right. You got 2 words for y'all. Suck it. Because that's what we had to do. We had to suck it. Wasn't no crying. Wasn't nobody going to comfort us. Nobody going to tell us that we were safe for the night. We had to be tough. We had practically had to raise ourselves. We was out here jumping bricks on ramps, being like Evil Knievel and stuff. Good thing I ain't break nothing. But that's what we had to do, and we enjoyed it. We were the generation that had tree houses and clubhouses, building them from scratch. I sure did. Falling out of trees and stuff. I ain't go, no, we wasn't doing that stuff. I walked it off. Yeah, walk it off, boy. Walk it off. That's all we heard growing up. Omega's right. Walk it off, boy. Suck it up. Walk it off. You know, that's what we had to do. We didn't have no helicopter parenting. We didn't have to come out here with no all them out there right now got to have helmets and elbow and knee. We didn't have that growing up riding bicycles, man. We was out here on the banana seats and BMX. We were doing all that stuff way before the X Games, man. We was out there doing it. Tony Hawk, he in our generation. He's a Generation Xer. Tony Hawk is still doing it. Shout out to Tony Hawk. Shit. We was out here doing the damn thing, though, for real. Omega says, 1986, rode my bike from electric to the vascular all the way to Southgate and back. 8 years old. Yeah, you right about that, Omega, man. I was out there with the BMX bike, the Mongoose, the Red Line, the pedals and stuff, the Bear Claw pedals, the pegs, and everything, man. Shoot. We was out there doing all those X Games before they even made it an X Game sport. Shoot. We was out there doing it. We had the motocross, the BMX. We did have that. That was competition. I always wanted to race in that thing, though. But yeah, man, we did all that. Yeah, I used to ride the shit out of a bicycle, man. You know what I'm saying? Shit, we wasn't laid up. You know what I'm saying? Playing a whole lot of video games. Generation X was out there, and that's why Generation X is tough. We ain't like Millennial and Zennial, man. We had to throw down. We had to fight too. 2 and 3 against one, man. Won some, lose some, man. You know, sure did. Omega says, no pads, no helmets, just balls and street balls. That's true. We didn't have any of that other stuff, man. We sure did not. Man, I miss those things. I used to stack those center blocks. You know what I'm talking about? Stack them up 4 deep. Man, talk about airborne, boy. Shit. Yeah, all good. All good, my friend. All good, my brother. Man, I appreciate you, man. It's good seeing you back again, man. I'm about to shut this thing down. I'm glad I put that AC on my phone and cooled off, man. I can see me in all my glory now. Look how, yep, lighter and brighter. Now it's a nice day out, as you can see. It's like about, I'm showing 65 degrees right now. It could be a lot hotter. I think it's hotter than 65 degrees, but yeah, I'm coming back tomorrow if I don't come back on tonight, unless something breaking happens, you know. But yeah, man, I appreciate you all coming on, man, and listening and checking it out, man. And you know, yep, yeah, I don't see that MC troll in there, man. He used to troll me. You know what I'm saying? Every person got to have an arch, man. He was, yeah, I haven't seen that guy in a while. MC, I haven't seen that dude, the fake Marine or whatever. He could have actually been a Marine though, but I don't know how you not know what's inside of a truck. They call that light, the thing on the light pole, the bulb thing. It's called, it's called a truck. And I can't believe he don't know what. Every Marine knows what's inside of a truck. Every Marine knows that, man. How you not be a Marine and not know what's inside of a truck, let alone calling it its proper name? But I got friends that are Marines, so But other than that, man, have a wonderful day, man. Whenever you start working, though, Omega, man, be careful out there. I know you're working now, but be careful out there on that road and stuff. I already know you got your American Express. Do not leave home without it. My other buddy that drives a truck, he drives for fuel, a fuel hauler, So he always got his American Express. So other than that, I appreciate you guys. Man, I'm down to one bar, man. I'm surprised that I'm still connected, man. Damn. Down to one bar. How does that happen? All right, then, Omega. Peace out, everybody. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for supporting the channel. I appreciate you guys. Peace.